Warning, if you're faint of heart or easily offended, this show is not for you.
I don't give a damn about what you saying, bitch, you in the way. Closed case, my nigga beat the charge just like yesterday. In your face, I'ma go hard and make sure you see the cake. Keep the pace, ain't no one fucking with me, this not a race. Doing the shit that I want, I'm never gonna stop, I'm never gonna give in. Making my way to the top, I told you to ride, I told you to get in. Now you can't eat out my pot, it's still to the top, and I'm about to dig in. You say I was doing you wrong.
Good evening, and welcome to the Go Rogue Podcast. What's up, Mrs. Stout?
Nothing.
What's up, Bully fam? What's going on? So, what you been doing? Anything?
What you mean? I'm in the next room. What you mean? What I've been doing? Let's see. I cooked dinner. I cleaned up dinner.
I'm used to having Han on here so I can small talk a little bit while everyone rolls in.
Oh, Han say, been outside with the dogs, letting the dogs out.
Whatever. But Han is not joining us tonight for those of you that tune in regularly. He had some things he had to do and he can't make it. That's all good. We got it covered. Good evening. So far, so good, for sure. So far, so good. I'm hoping some of the people from Texas kind of chime in because they've had some weather conditions as of late, and be interested to see how they've been doing down there, keeping those bullies under control. What's up, guys? What's going on? Let's see, you got 16 in here so far. We'll give it a couple minutes, let some more people roll in.
You want me to rap or something? Keep everybody entertained?
No, we don't want to run anybody off.
I rock rough and tough with my afro puff. That's all I got.
Okay. What's going on, Chino?
Hi, Chino.
So tonight we're going to be talking about keeping your dogs cool in the summertime.
Hold on. Every time you say Chino, I think about the time you said, Dina, is it Halloween? And I said, why? You said, because Chino on the Facebook in a nun outfit spoken blood. I never forget that. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, Chino.
Go to similar water situation, Texas, down here in North Alabama. So you got some of that weather that Texas got. I know they've had some power outages. I know one breeder in particular, because he just bred the 7. He confirmed his female, and he was telling me they didn't have no power. He's got a kennel, and they're trying to figure out how in the hell to keep that kennel cool. Let me see what we got here. We in northern New Jersey having a great heat wave for about 2 weeks now. We're not close to you, but we're in West Virginia. And it has been wild. It's been
hot.
I don't know.
Hot.
Yeah, very, very hot. Very hot. Contaminated water. Okay. Uh-oh. So you guys are having to filter your water and everything right now.
Probably bottled water.
I would imagine. But trying to do a bunch of dogs, that'd be tough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we just want to get in the subject of keeping your dogs cool. And especially, with the humidity, Joe Mills hit it for sure. West Virginia, we're having a humidity situation too. So not only is it 92, 95 degrees at the heat of the day, but the humidity is out of control. And not everybody has, some people you'd have your dogs in the house, right? So if you're letting your dog out to use the bathroom, you just got to remember, hey, I can't just let the dog out, close the door and leave it out there for 45 minutes. I need to keep an eye on it because it don't take long. Today I let Precious out to use the bathroom, and she was out there 15 minutes, and she was panting hard by the time she came back in. It was just a sweltering heat. It's one of those that kind of takes your breath as you walk outside. And so bullies specifically have a really hard time dealing with this kind of weather. Like they are no good with it.
Frenchies as well.
Yeah.
Frenchie, shorty bull, anything that's got a short muzzle.
Brachycephalic. It's been 115 here in Cali for about 2 weeks now. Holy crap. We don't want none of that.
I think it's been warmer here than normal,
I think above average. Yeah.
And you have to think, like, dogs that are in the house in the AC, just like us humans, when we go outside, it's like, woof.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost worse.
Yeah.
It's almost worse for them.
And that was something I was going to mention, Joe. Typically, people that came to the American Bully from the Pit Bull tends to be a little more tolerant of this weather. But, even they have their limits when it's pushing 100 degrees. But even
all dogs.
I think what people have a hard time is when the weather's only 75 and they think they can cut their dog out. And a lot of these bigger bullies, they just carry so much weight. Even 75, you can get in a crazy situation you don't want to be in.
And it happens so fast.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
It happens so fast. We've been at shows before and seen just where, like, people were standing in line and get in and their dog go down.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but just in the show itself. You know what I mean?
Generally, that's a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
Which is different. You don't really, you treat it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if your dog's not overheating and you go with the ice thing in the hind end, your dog's having an anxiety attack, you're going to throw that dog into shock.
I don't think we're going
as opposed to cooling it down.
We'll be covering that particular method. You do have to try to acclimate them, yes, for sure. And I don't know. Who would you think is our most acclimated dog? I don't know.
Kimber?
Yeah, probably.
We have several that are super. Dogs are like people. They're all different.
Yeah. Yeah, Adam, that's what I was curious. We generally have a couple people from Texas kind of chime in eventually in the show every week. And I was kind of curious to how they're doing. I know the one guy I was talking to, his power was out. He has a block built kennel. And I don't know what he's doing for cooling. I didn't think to ask him, assuming he's doing something, but I don't know what they're doing right now.
Probably running a generator with some fans.
Because it's hot in Texas for sure. Oh, what's up? What's going on, Jack? Generators, battery banks, and solar panels to run the AC for sure. Yeah, we have now. Obviously, that is the absolutely most efficient way to do that is get yourself a Generac, like a 20K or something like that you can run your kennel off of when the power's down. They run on natural gas. I saw someone make a post about it today, and we have one of those Generacs, and there is a disturbance in power, like it goes off for 30 seconds or so, and then boom, the Generac kicks on, all the all the lights come back on. Really the way to go. But if you don't have that, then probably the best thing to do would just to keep your fans going. If you have a kennel, to keep your fans going would definitely be buy a generator, because I think even one of the standard generators that you can buy at like Home Depot or something like that will probably run all of your fans for your kennel. I don't think that would be a problem. Let me see. What is this? Misters. We'll do that real quick. Okay. So misters, I think if your dogs are outside and outside kennels, that's probably fine. I would think that's cool. There's an issue with humidity inside a building. So when you try to start using misters inside, then you're going to get a lot of water, a lot of humidity. And with humidity comes skin issues and ear infections, and it's a wild mess. So I try to keep that's the one problem we have when we're trying to keep them cool, but we go in there and we spray the floors down. The floors get all wet. Humidity goes high. Trying to get everything dried out and the humidity back down could be a huge, huge pain in the ass. Houston is baking. Most people still don't have power. And yeah, they had a tornado not long ago. Yeah. And then they had a hurricane back up after that. And it's just, I feel bad for everybody down there. I hope everyone's doing well. Let me see what's up here. Sleeping in their cars. I've seen a couple of those a couple of videos where people are sleeping in their cars so that way they could keep cool, because it's just ridiculous. There's no electricity in their apartments. Cooling stations down here because people are overheating walking. What is this? Yeah. Why does that not show that? Oh, there it is. Took a minute. Because people are overheating walking through town. That's wild. That's wild. So, yeah, typically if your dog's a house dog, now you're going to have yourself a situation, because if you have air conditioning, say you have central air, you normally keep your bully in the house, you have to be extra careful because your dog is acclimated to the interior of your house. And when you cut them outside in 90-degree weather, you can't go make something to eat or go take a shower or, whatever. You got to remember, okay, get the dog outside, use the bathroom, bring the dog back in. Our dogs stay in a kennel, and the kennel isn't air conditioned, but it has lots of fans. Like I have 5-foot fans that push a ton of CFM in the building and exhaust fans. So typically it's 10 degrees cooler than the outside temperature. So those dogs are pretty well acclimated to the heat. I can put them outside and I still have to watch them, don't get me wrong, but they're fairly well acclimated to a heat versus a dog that stays inside all the time. Let me see here. Maryland's been 95 to 106. That's wild. What did we hit? Like 95 maybe?
92, 90,
OG Ramos, misters make air too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. We went to Allentown. It was so hot, I had to carry my dog from the parking lot to the entrance so she wouldn't burn her paws. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing you got to watch for. That pavement is hot.
Yeah, blacktop for sure. So that's definitely one thing to keep in mind, is like keep those inside dogs that are inside all the time. This kind of weather, you got to be super careful. Like they're not acclimated. Now, if you have kennel dogs, you don't have air conditioning, they're exposed to, the hotter weather, they may do better. But still, for sure, have to keep an eye on them. Whoa, let me see here. OG Ramos, we're at 110 at 4:15 p.m.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Oh, hot.
Yeah. No, we get in the 90s and we're like, what in the hell is going on? Like this is West Virginia. We're not supposed to be 90 degrees. But we've had some super mild winters too, so it's a good balance considering 110. That's wild.
Another thing to remember is if you're anytime you're traveling with a dog in the car, you always take your lemon juice and your alcohol. Always.
Right.
Never travel without it.
Well, I mean, use it at home too.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know. Like you go to some shows, and a lot of people are like, "Well, why we got this alcohol and lemon juice here?" They're just unfamiliar with what to do it. And basically, what it does, for those who don't know, when your dog starts panting a lot, all that saliva builds up in their throat, and they can't get it out. So what you do is you put the lemon juice in there, and that breaks it up and allows it to come out. The alcohol. A lot of people will use plain alcohol. I do that as well. I've also used the green alcohol. It's the menthol alcohol. It's supposed to be more cooling. And basically, you rub it on their pads, their armpits, their bellies, and it brings heat out of the body much faster.
Right.
So it's always, 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 always travel with it.
OG Ramos would make me a good person to ask. So 110. How tolerant are your dogs to that weather? I mean, you probably, you let them outside, obviously. So are they acclimated to that kind of weather, or do you have to watch them very closely? It'd be interesting to know. We kind of acclimate them to our weather, but unfortunately, when we take them to a new place, like we take our dogs to Florida, poof, they're in trouble. Like they have a hard time. Yeah, Texas.
At Texas, I remember we were like, oh, because it felt so, the heat was so dense.
Right.
Like it was all different kind of heat than what we're used to here.
Yeah. And the dogs just, immediately. You could tell I text them quick.
Yeah.
I can't remember what temperature was, but it was like in the middle of the day. We take them outside to use the bathroom, and just taking a pee, they would be panting.
It was 109 when we pulled in the parking lot.
Okay.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the South, you guys don't get a break. Like for us tonight, it'll be 75, 77 degrees. It'll cool down. And I know you guys in the South, if you're in Texas or on the West Coast, you generally don't get a break. It might be 110 during the day, but it'll be, 90 at night. Like it's crazy.
I have to imagine that the dogs get accustomed to it. You think about when it goes from summer to fall here, and let's say it's 50 outside and we're all like freezing to death. But the more we get used to it, we think, when spring comes around, we think 50 is like time to put your bikinis on.
Right.
So I think once your dog acclimates to that temperature, they're probably just like us humans.
Yeah. 108. Now, is that 108 outside in kennels or 108 running around? I've noticed that. Like if a dog's in a kennel and he's laying on a bed and he's got a fan on him, they're a hell of a lot more tolerant than being outside the kennel running around. You know what I mean? Because dogs don't have the good sense to just go lay down somewhere. Like they don't care how hot it is. They want to go run. And Brandon, let me see here. Absolutely, each dog is different. We notice that even within our kennel.
Mm-hmm.
Like some dogs are far more tolerant than others, for sure. My girls can't stand to be out in the Vegas heat. They refuse sometimes. I'll let them out for a few minutes throughout the day. And that's me. I'm like, oh, you're going to go outside? You're going to go outside by yourself. Too damn hot. Yeah, humidity is definitely a factor. Jack Smith, 75 at night. It's been 75 to 80 or higher here at night. Well, Jack, you're in Maryland, so you're not too far from us. I mean, you're connector state. It's gotten up to 98 here in Alabama. Let's see. Their kennels set up outside in complete shade with fans.
And that makes a big difference.
Let them destroy the house in days that's 100. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But no, I mean, there's a huge advantage. Even for people that build kennel buildings, if you have a kennel building that is around trees, you're going to find yourself with a lot cooler intake air for your fans when it's like my kennel building's out in the middle of a field. There's no trees around it. And, when that air is hot, it's just hot. There's nothing you can do about it. Let me see here. But most of the time they are outside, but my kennels are exposed to the weather. Okay.
A lot of people have theirs outside, and those dogs they probably acclimate better, way better than a dog that's in the AC all day.
Oh, for sure. Jacqueline says, South Carolina is awful. My dogs stay out long enough to use the bathroom and right back in. And that's probably the safest way to do it, to be honest with you.
And I mean, with this sort of heat that people are experiencing, I don't think it matters the dog. All dog breeds, are going to not do well in that sort of heat.
Oh, for sure. But some are a little more tolerant.
Yeah. And there are some owners that, really get out there and exercise a dog, 5 miles a day or whatever. They may deal with it a little bit better, but I don't think in this heat anybody needs to be going
right
2 miles, let alone 5.
What's funny is, I investigate everything. So I looked into the lemon juice thing, and I could not find any documentation whatsoever on the validity of this lemon juice usage. I have no idea where it came from. Don't know if it was carried over from like pit bull breeders. Never seen any kind of veterinary report about using it. Nothing. Alcohol, I can definitely find that, for the use of that. But it works. It's something specific to our breed, that lemon juice thing. I've never heard of it from anybody else. I don't know if it's specific to our breed, but it's first I've heard of it is when I got involved in the American Bully. but it surely works. Your dog builds up that saliva. You're going to squirt that lemon juice. The acidic nature of lemon juice really breaks down that saliva. And then introduce water to them, but don't go crazy. I've seen some people, dogs overheat, and the first thing they want to do is grab a water hose and hit that dog with colder water, and that is a no-no. You're going to put that dog in shock.
Yeah.
It will not be good. With the lemon juice, it does cut the heavy phlegm and clears your throat. Yeah. Yeah, and no doubt about it, it definitely works. It's just so weird. That's one of those things in our community that has kind of been handed down from generation to generation, apparently. And no one that I've been able to find in the veterinary community knows anything about it, which is crazy.
Yeah, I had to explain it to our vet.
Yeah, they've never heard of it. They don't know nothing about it.
Like, interesting.
Let's see. Heat index is crazy here in Georgia. 100 on most day or higher. Have to keep them up. No outside time or indoor barn stays about 78 to 80. Always try to keep the dogs acclimated to outdoors. You can't risk it. For sure. Absolutely, for sure. I monitor our temperature. We've got, I don't know if you guys use Alexas, but if you use I don't have one here to show you, but the tall Alexa, it looks like a little cylinder. Those have heat sensors built into them. So you can ask Alexa what the temperature is. Just name your Alexa kennel or whatever, and then stick it in your kennel area. And now you can ask it, what's the temperature in the kennel. And that's how I monitor my kennel temperatures. And then, we've got exhaust fans. We have those hooked up to smart plugs. That way I can tell it, turn on the fan, turn off the fan. Because sometimes you're doing your dog a disservice by running the exhaust fan all day long. If it's 100 degrees outside, you're in an insulated kennel building, it could probably maintain a lower temperature as long as you're not constantly drawing hot air into it. So there's lots of times during the day, I'll cut the fan off, the exhaust fan off, and just let the fans inside the building circulate air. And, we'll generally maintain about 10 degrees cooler than the outside temperature. You got to worry about that spell check. We know what you meant.
I'll check.
I think my dogs can tolerate the heat in my outdoor kennels because I have the den cut out under the doghouse. I'm not sure what he meant about that. Den cut out under the doghouse?
Sounds like an opening
to
the outside.
Maybe, yeah. 92 here now with high humidity. No good.
I don't know what it is here right now.
Let me see here. It's starting to cool down. It's supposed to be like low 77 tonight.
Well, I noticed a big difference in just over on the side of our house where we have a giant tree. It's probably 10, 15 degrees cooler than it is out in the field. But you can't get the dogs to go there on that side.
I see.
Oh, yes, it's cooling down nice.
77 degrees currently, which is nice. That is that's cool. When it was like 90 degrees during the day, it hit 77. You're like, yep, feeling good. Let me in for a second. I'll explain. All right.
Definitely.
I'm gonna shoot you a link, brother. Hold on.
Okay, well, I'm gonna let you guys chat.
You hang on. I don't know if you've ever used StreamYard before, but just sent you the link. You just click on it.
He's been on here before.
Not on this one. It was on the other podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, this one's different. We were just doing Instagram Live back then. Let me see. Have you all had any luck with cooling blankets in the kennels? Dina, you've grabbed a couple cooling blankets before. What did you think about those?
I really like them. Another thing, and I don't use them necessarily in our kennels. I take them to shows with me. And another thing is let's say you're going to a show, just keeping towels in a cooler. Then, you get that towel out, wring it out, put it on your dog. Now, that's not when they're in full blown panic mode at that point. That's just
Right.
cooling them down. If they're in panic mode, I don't recommend that. Wait till you get them cooled down enough that it doesn't shock their system.
Nice. Good evening, sir. How you doing?
How's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hello, Dina.
How are you?
Getting old, girlfriend. Getting old.
Oh, me too.
You guys are youngsters. You guys are babies, man.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, the reason I want to come real quick is to explain the kennel setup. You know, all my kennels are outdoors. I don't have indoor kennels. I wish I had that kind of extra cash laying around, but they're all exposed to the weather. They're pretty much Magnum kennels. But what I've done though is the first 3 feet at the front of the kennels, I put down pavers so that wears down the nails on the dogs. It helps a lot. Then I dug out a roughly like a 30-inch by 30-inch square hole into the earth, and it goes down another 24 inches, maybe a little bit more. And 3 sides have it's called hardy backing, or it's the backing that they use when you're putting a shower in. It's like sheetrock but cement.
I got you.
Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So I put 3 walls that way, and then there's actually has a pig rail on the bottom if you want to have it there for pups, whatever. I mean, but we usually bring them in, and we don't go outside during the day. My dogs have been out there as high as 108 degrees, and when you go look at my kennels, they look empty. That's because the dogs are all underneath in the dens.
Right.
So, and we don't go and feed or go out at all during the day because we don't want the dogs to get all, excited and come out of their den and then overheat, because it gets really hot here. I'm talking about tomorrow's 115. But once I get to 105, I start watching them close, and then I bring them in. And even then, I don't like doing that because I don't want them to get too used to that AC, because then the next couple of days go out there and then they're suffering. But with these dens, I make these dens, and then I put pretty much like a pallet, but it's like a platform with a piece of plywood and a doghouse to sit on top.
Mm-hmm.
So every evening when the sun goes down, we go out. That's when we go out and clean, feed, and everything, because it's just way too hot. Even in the evening, it's 90 degrees at 7 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So even then we go out there, and that's when the sun barely dips behind all the mountains and stuff. But every night we go out there, we feed. The other thing we do is, being that we feed kibble, is we put a lot of water in the kibble. And I don't think a lot of people understand that during this heat, most of your dogs are damn near dehydration because they don't drink water like a human being. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, they drink water when they're damn near dying of thirst. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not smart enough. So I really saturate their kibble with a lot of water. So they're forced to eat that food with the water. And in fact, my dogs will eat like half the amount of kibble in the summertime because they already know that I got to cut back on weight. So they won't even eat the kibble. They'll eat like half of what I normally give them.
Right.
Wow.
And but the beauty is in those dens, every night we soak them with water. And by the time the day comes around, it's so hot and dry here that it's just, there's not even mud in there. I mean, because it's that hot. I mean, it's just, but when you go down, it's like a 10-degree drop easy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's amazing. And if you get down there, that hole, you could feel the coolness coming off of there. And the dogs love it, man. There's no panting. A soldier, boom, boom, all my big, heavy guys that are out there, and they're not even stressing. But I'm the one that stresses when it starts getting 105 and above. That's when I bring them in. Because I'm sure they could stay out there, but I just, man, 110, 115 is crazy.
Yeah, that's super hot. That's cool that you have that, though, because it's probably like below the ground temperature.
Oh, it is. It's way cooler. I'm sure you've been in like somebody's cellar in their house.
Yep.
When you go down, the drop is amazing with no AC, no nothing, and it's probably the most comfortable room in the house. What's the same principle behind it? You know what I'm saying? So it works really well. I'm gonna tell you how hot it was. It was not here. A couple of guys, when was it, 2 days ago, decided to cross. Don't tell me what they're thinking, but they decided to cross Death Valley 2 to 3 days ago. I think it was 4 or 5 bikers, right? Well, one guy lost his life. Another one's in the hospital. And because it was like 118 degrees out there at that time.
Wow.
And I don't understand what they were thinking going out there like that. I mean, most of your bikers were all black anyway. I'm saying so. Yeah, they lost the guy out there. He died from the heat exhaustion, just crossing the desert, man, on his bike. You know,
that's awful.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, it gets insanely hot out here, man. And like I said, I feel very lucky that my dogs are acclimated. But even then, I get worried. I get more worried, like I said, when I have to bring them in because I hate to put them back out there again.
Right.
So now, when I do this, I bring them in. I try to wait till it's at least 105, then I'll bring them in. And then I'll take them out in the evening again. And the next 4 days, we're finally gonna get a drop to like 100 degrees, and I'll leave them out there all day after that. But it's extremely hot, and like I said, they don't drink enough water. So one thing I could tell people, man, is make sure you put some water in that kibble.
Right.
And the other thing that people don't understand, even stud dogs, you should always put water in your stud dog's food. For the fact of the matter is that semen, the seminal fluids and stuff is all water, so it helps with the contents of his semen. It gives them that much more seminal fluid, good quality semen. So I highly recommend people put water in their kibble if unless you're feeding raw or wet food. But it's the way to go, man. It makes a huge difference on your stud dogs.
Especially in this heat because their semen's not producing like it does when they're much cooler.
That's a fact. Their semen quality and quantity drops in this kind of heat.
Yes.
It's really hard on those, on them. But we take good care of our boys, man. And the semen usually is really good quality. Even this kind of weather, their semen is pretty damn good, man. But like I said, we really baby them. We really cater to them to make sure they're okay. It can be brutal, like I said, it's amazing because in the earlier years, you'd get on Facebook or MSN boards and people would be talking about the way these dogs are just dropping left and right. And you don't see that much these days. People are more aware, I guess, and they're.
Well, I've noticed in a couple years that it hasn't been nearly as much.
Yeah, you notice that? Yeah, because for a while there, people would go on here and say, well, lost a dog. And people would, chastise them, but it happens, man. This kind of weather is unforgiving, man.
That's what I mean, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people is it happens fast.
Oh, quick! I'll give an example.
Seconds.
Oh yeah, there used to be a show here in Bakersfield, and Bakersfield's very hot. It's probably 2 hours south of me, and I recall a person coming in from the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland area, which is oceanfront. We're in a valley, so they had to come over a mountain ridge, come to the show, and it was already like 5 p.m, and took the dog out. Beautiful bully bitch, and she was dead within 10 minutes. Being out of the car. Because that's how hot it is. Because it's not the heat; it's just like we were saying earlier, the acclimation. 5 degrees could be a crazy amount of difference for a dog that's never used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
It does not take a lot of heat to wipe out a dog, man. So especially if they're not acclimated, it takes them out quick, man.
Between the heat and being stressed about the environment.
That's what I was going to mention is like, when you're traveling with a dog that you don't normally travel with, there's a certain amount of stress they're going through and panting already.
Oh man. And the old days, believe it or not, we would go to Northern California to do shows, and then on the way back we would buy bags of ice and throw bags of ice inside the crates, and they were out in the back of a truck. And that was like brutal, man. But they survived through all that stuff. So it can be really, really demanding on these poor animals, man.
Yes, it can be.
Now I got a question for you, while you're here, Ron. Do you have dogs that are not smart enough to get in the den though? Like you had to train them to get in it?
Man, you're speaking volumes, dude. I've had dogs like that, man. And you just want to kick them right in the ass, saying, get down there. Some of them don't get it. And what I'll do is I'll watch them, right? And I'll try to get them to go down there. And eventually they catch on. They realize that some shit, man, it's 20 degrees cooler down there. And they go down there and you won't see them come out. It takes some time. It takes some time for them to really, for the light to go on and figure out, I got to go down there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if they don't, then I got to I got to bring them in because I can't risk it. Even teaching a dog how to lick. See, I don't have water buckets. I have all lick spout. And I love the lick spout, man. It saves me time. I don't have to worry about cleaning, the water buckets out from all the green mildew growing in them and everything. So I don't do that no more. And even training them there is going to be tough sometimes because I got to go out there and I got to keep putting peanut butter on that spout until they figure out that's where the water's at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
1 year I had it, and I didn't realize that one of the spigots was in the heat, and you're not thinking. I think it's going to be okay. Cool water comes out. Man, you could have boiled an egg inside that damn water. It was so awkward. I didn't realize that. So I ended up making a little cover for the pipe that came out of the ground and stuff to keep it cool. And man, for the longest time, that dog that was in there, I could not get her to drink off a water spout. And I don't blame her because she probably wanted to drink it and probably scalded her mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah. See, so it took me a long time to get her to get comfortable to lick out a spout again. But it's very important that you watch these guys, And, I got to tell you, when I did a show in Peru, it was Peru or Colombia. It was one of the two, Peru or Colombia, I can't remember. And they had a vet on site, and it got pretty hot. There was a dog that went down from heat exposure, and that guy came over, and I don't know what he did, man. He gave the dog a shot, and I think it was like an anti-inflammatory because it prevents that throat from closing up because they close up. People don't realize that they'll swell up in their throat when they start to pant real hard. Their throats will actually swell up and close. And the other thing that people have to understand is I don't think people understand how to open the pathway for the air. So on your dogs, if you get that situation, you want to calm them down, obviously, but to aid them, you want to line their head up, kind of like tilt their head back a little bit on their back or on their side, and pull the tongue out and hold the tongue with your fingers, because it'll let that air flow much more cleaner and easier through there, man. And I guess there's a lot of people don't know that. They'll let the dog there and he'll be panting, and you'll see that tongue flexing in and out, right? And it becomes more of a hindrance. So you got to open that mouth up and pull that tongue and hold it, so that air just has free flow in there. You're not going to hurt them, trust me. But it works. It helps a lot as well.
Right. Yeah, I think
That's very good information.
Yeah, in an emergency, you can do like an anti-inflammatory shot to try to help them.
Right. And it worked out really well, and that dog came right out of it, man. You know what I'm saying? So I wish I knew what it was, because I'd like to have one on hand, just to have it on hand. I might have to talk to one of my veterinary friends and see if I can't get a hold of one.
Yeah, see what it is exactly.
Yeah.
Things like that happen so fast. You've just got to be prepared at all times for it.
Yeah, like I said, they have the doctor right on hand, and man, he took the dog right out of it. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. He was still stressed, but the thing is, though, he got the breathing to open up. I don't know if it's like humans use an inhaler. I don't know if that's the kind of shot they gave him, that it opened up his bronchioles and his throat and everything. Right. But it worked really well for him. Man. So those are things that I wish I knew what it was, and the shows would have them on hand just to be safe.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Especially if it works quickly, that's.
It's quick, man. It was quick.
That's life-saving.
And the other thing that people don't realize, even though you save your dog from heat stroke, say if you have a dog that has a pretty serious incident of a heat stroke, you're not out of the woods, man, because a lot of times it does a lot of damage to the liver, the kidneys, and so that, because basically they're being cooked. Even the brain, So sometimes you're not out of the woods. I've seen people that save their dog, and the next day the dog dies. Because you still got to seek medical attention, because, like I said, it could do quite a bit of damage. I'm saying.
Absolutely, something to be super careful of. Yeah. Super careful. Like, people think we're crazy when they come here to our kennel. They're like, "Oh, are you going to put outside kennels, attached?" I was like, "No." No, I don't intend to do that. With the doors that open, what do they call them? Doggy. Suicide door. Well, it's like a doggy door, but they call it something else. I call it the suicide door. But the dog goes out, because these dogs are not smart enough to say, okay, I'm too hot, I'm going to go back in. No, they're going to stay out there and chase a rabbit or whatever. Yeah. I just don't want them outside unless I'm with them.
Yeah, we've got a couple that just don't. They don't have the throttle. Like they don't know. They just keep going and going and going and going and going.
Yeah, that's typical of the breed. They don't understand their own limits. You know, whether it be pain, whether it be exhaustion. You know, there used to be it was like a Schutzen training. I don't know if it was Schutzen or French ring or what it was, but part of the training was they had to do like a run, and I can't remember how long the run. It was some ridiculous run, man. You know, just like crazy run, like 10 miles or something, right? And it's part of it is part of this training that they do for these dogs, you know, these working dogs. And the pit bulls, they had to watch them because they would run till they dropped and died. You know, they didn't know when to stop, man. You know,
We got a couple that'll do the same exact thing.
Yeah, they'll go till they're done.
Yeah.
You know, they're harder to explode, but they won't stop. You know, and that's how nuts these guys are. You know what I'm saying, and it's not nuts. It's just part of their DNA to be driven like that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, we have a couple that are very high drive, and they just have no shut off, none.
Yeah,
We actually have a couple that will contaminate their water with saliva. I don't know if you're, but that's one of the disadvantages. You probably don't have that problem. You don't use buckets, but we have a couple. They just make so much saliva that when they drink their water, their water just turns into foam. So you'll look at it and think, yeah, they got a full bucket of water, but if you reach down in there, it's just slimy. You know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, the lick spots are the best way to go, man, and they're not that difficult to put in. You know what I mean? But there's you have to make sure you get the right one, because they have some for dogs, and then they have some that are literally for pigs, and they're smaller, the ones for the pigs, but they're really hard to push that little peg to let the water loose.
Right.
Yeah. So but man, I love those things, man. They're like a lifesaver. I do have a couple of kennels that do, I still use buckets and stuff, but
right.
It's easy to manage those instead of managing 15 buckets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I went and bought a cart to put all, because we're changing our water, twice a day. So in the morning you go in, I got a little cart. We put them all on, push them back, because Roger got some food grade hose thing water for the dogs. So we clean them out, bring them back, clean them out.
You do something, but that's a good thing. But like I said, when you do the lick spots, that's all eliminated. No more of that stuff. Yep. I gotta share something. We're talking about water right now. There was a gentleman that had a dog, phenomenal little dog, right? And he was having a hard time getting his dogs to get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? And he happened to, just by chance, read a notice that came from the water company. And there was an analyst of the water, all the different minerals and all stuff. Well, I don't remember what it was, but there was a certain chemical in the water that was basically hindering the reproductive cycle of dogs. So he took all his dogs off of the city water that he was at and put them all on bottled water, right? Mm-hmm. And like that, dogs started getting pregnant, season, they started coming to season, semen quality picked up. I mean, I wish I would remember what it was. And I wish I remember the gentleman's name. He had a beautiful little pocket guy, man.
And we had a letter from our water place that said if you consume too much of this, it has cancer causing agents in it.
Oh yeah, that's
when he got that filtered water for the dogs.
Yeah. And that makes a difference. Like I said, you would be surprised what's in the water and food stuff that will actually is detrimental to your animals,
Yeah.
It's wild. You would never think that. A lot of people would never think the water was. And I wish I knew the name of that dog, man, that guy, man. He was a good-looking little guy, man. But once he just like Roger did, I think he ended up putting in a water treatment to eliminate all that stuff, and dogs started coming to season and everything. You know what I'm saying? So it worked out good for him.
Yeah, and you can get those. The one we got was actually for an RV. So it's like you build this. You basically you build like a holder for it and you mount it to it, and basically it's set up to have a water hose come in one side and the water hose go out the other. That way, all of the water coming into your camper is filtered.
Right.
So, and we just use that and modified it that way. We've got a good incoming water flow, and then it comes out to a food grade water hose, which they have like a white plastic lining on the inside of them.
I think I've seen them before. When I was working in, I worked in a lot of ag, and we use a lot of food grade handling, materials and stuff, that water hoses, whatever it may be, because it does make a difference. I'm saying.
And honestly, I may look into those lick spouts just because,
Oh man, I'm telling you, Roger,
today,
I love those damn things, man.
but today PEX is so easy to work with. Like it takes nothing to plumb that up.
Oh yeah, I mean, if your plumbing's on the inside of your building, right, all you're gonna have to do is run some PVC, a couple of clamps down into wherever you have your kennels at on the wiring, or some zip ties even, so long as it's not exposed to heat. I'm saying. And then what I did with mine, you could have them come straight out, but I have mine come like at a 45 instead of straight out. Just a little 45. The only thing you have to worry about on the lick spouts is if you get them a little too high, the dogs have a tendency to drink too fast and get some in their lungs. So you have to be careful not to, get them, exposed like that. So you want to have it, so they're not too far up their head. You want to, if anything, level and make them lick that up, because I have soldiers notorious for that, man. They go there and he'll freaking drown himself almost, and I got to make sure that he's in the kennel's got a low lick spot in it, so he doesn't do that, because he just loves in there. He goes nuts, man. So,
somebody mentioned PFAS. That said something that was like contamination. I remember it was a big contamination of PFAS in the water system. So
it might be that, yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, it might be something like that. But yeah, like I said, people come to my place and they see the holes in the ground. I ain't got nothing fancy, but when they see the dens, they trip out. They're like, "Holy cow, that's awesome!" And the dogs come out. There's no panting, no nothing. They, it's like AC for them. I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Here, here in the northern climate, we talk about the frost line. So 18 inches, anything below 18 inches is below the frost line. So things don't tend to freeze if they're below 18 inches.
Right.
That works the opposite way too. As you dig down like that, the ground stays cooler at below 18 inches than it is on the surface.
Oh man, it's amazing how cool it is. Like I said, we aid by adding water to it. We squirt them down. We make sure we saturate those holes, so when they go down there, they're nice and cool. So far, it's been a blessing for me, man. I have not lost any dogs to any heat exhaustion or that. So, real lucky with that. The only thing I have to worry about out here, for example, and I haven't had an issue in a long, long time, is toads. Some toads, if your dog bites into a toad, it makes them froth at the mouth, and you got to get a hose and you got to wash that shit out, because they'll drown with that froth. It's just like, it's weird, man. It's like when you drop out the seltzer in a jar, in a glass of water, their mouth would just froth up thick, man, from the toad, that poison of the toad. And man, that's a real situation too, man. That's crazy. And spiders, like everything else. But other than that, it's pretty easy out here, man. No scorpions, no snakes, thank God.
Yeah,
we have snakes here.
Yeah, we've got snakes.
Machiavelli got bit in the cheek one time. His face swelled up real big. And we thought, oh my goodness, maybe something's wrong with his tooth or something. Took him to the vet, and they put him on something, and it kept swelling. I took him back to the vet. I said, shave it down. There's something wrong. And sure enough, they saw 2 marks right there on his little cheek.
Yep.
What kind of snakes are they?
It wasn't poisonous, thank goodness.
It was just like a garden snake. It wasn't poisonous, but there on snakes' fangs there is bacteria.
Yeah, the bacteria, like a dog's teeth.
When he bit him in the face, the bacteria got in there because it swelled up his face and went down his neck. His shoulders started swelling up. Like one of his legs was bigger than the other one.
Oh wow!
Like it was rough.
Yeah.
But they put him on antibiotics, and he cleared up quick enough. But
they put a drain in it. They put a tube in the top, and it ran out the bottom. They sent me home with an IV bag, and I had to flush it every day.
Well, I had a friend of mine, a female friend that got bit by a rattlesnake, and she was out quite a ways out, and by the time they brought her back in, because I think they were camping or something like that. So, but they were pretty far out. So by the time they got her into the hospital, she swelled up so much that she's got like a lightning bolt running down her arm where she got bit, or her skin literally tore from from it swelling so fast. Yeah, from the swelling. I mean, it's just all the way down her arm. She got like a jagged cut all the way down, and that's basically the skin ruptured. So that's kind of scary, man. No kidding, man.
Yeah.
But now, like I said, we're pretty lucky.
As far as the lemon juice goes, is that something you've always known, or who'd you hear it from?
It's been like that for years. When I first found out about it, because my first passion and love was English bulldogs, and I never got one because I just heard so many horror stories of all the complications of breathing. So I got the next closest thing, which was the American Bullies, and a little more hardier, a little better, but that's been around for eons. And I'm surprised that you said that you researched it and nothing came up. You would think something would come up on that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. Now, nothing like if I look for individuals, yeah, but I'm always looking at like research papers, documentation for veterinarians.
Right.
I did anything about that.
That's amazing. You think they would have something, I'm saying? Something would come up somewhere.
Yeah, and they would say, makes sense because of the, acidity of lemon juice. It makes sense. But, no one's just ever tried it or ever tested it in a veterinary setting, which is weird. So that's been kind of the standard: alcohol on the bellies and on the paw pads, and lemon juice in the mouth, and obviously give them access to water. Just like Richard said there, access to cooling pads helps get them under control. Put a fan in front of them.
I'll tell you another one, but I don't think a lot of people are going to be too crazy about it. But I've seen where they've literally shoved ice cubes up the anal gland of the butt of the dog. I'm saying, and what people don't understand is that we've all hydrated puppies before. We lift up the scruff of their neck and you put fluid underneath there. Well, my son was studying to be a doctor, and he ended up becoming a CSI, basically crime scene investigator, and he does all the autopsy, all that kind of stuff. So one day he was watching me. He goes, "Dad," he goes, "You're doing this the hard way." And I said, "Well, what do I do then?" And he says, "Instead of putting underneath the puppy's skin, just get your syringe, little lubricant, and introduce the water anally." So, and I started doing that, and man, they hydrate much quicker, because he told me that in that first part of the intestine there, it absorbs everything really quick, and it'll save your puppies much faster than trying to put it underneath the neck. Yeah, the neck is convenient because it stays on you do, but this way it's much faster and more efficient. So, with that being said, you can do the same thing when you got dogs overheating. Believe it or not, you can cool them off that way, and they won't overdo the water and bloat. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. But that way, it's important to know if it's an anxiety attack or a heat.
Yeah, just don't lick your fingers afterwards. That's all.
Because if it's anxiety and you do the ice cubes anally, it can put them in bigger shock. But if it's heat, then you definitely, I did it to somebody's dog in Daytona. They were pouring ice all over the dog, and I was like, hold on. And within 10 minutes, that dog was up and ready to go.
Yeah. Oh, you put it in.
I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really is actually the better way to go. A lot of people don't know about it, and a lot of people were like, "Think it's gross," but man, I'll do anything to save my dog. So I don't really care.
I'm the same way. Whatever you need me to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so many. When I was showing AKC, there's so many little tricks you learn. That are like, man, it's like pulling teeth, because it's very competitive AKC, so they don't want to tell you nothing, man. So you gotta waterboard them, so that you gotta torture them to get answers out of them. I'll give you a little tip, and I told this the other day, one of the other lives I did. when you go into the show ring, nobody wants their dog to poop in the show ring, right? So what they do is you get the large wooden matches, and they're nice and rounded on the one end, and you get literally stick a match in his butthole, right? And this is before going to the show ring, and dogs don't have fingers so they can reach around and pull it out. So what's he going to do? He's going to take a dump to get that damn match out of his butt. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and it really works, believe it or not. I mean,
Oh, my goodness. Now I'll see people at shows with their big matches.
But seriously, it really does. Man. Like I said, there's so many things that, that they don't tell you. Man, I'm saying.
That's one thing I can say about the American bully community is we all pretty much share our information.
Oh,
at least, the people that I'm with, our whole group are like, hey, what do you do for this? Hey, what do you do for that? Everybody's experienced something different, and we're just openly try to help each other anytime we can.
Oh, the early years when I was first going into the bullies and stuff, the UKC always did this. We would have like a mock show the night before in the parking lot of the hotel, and help each other, and then and go in the ring and compete against each other. But we would do
kind of do that
show.
now.
Yeah, see, that's a lot of fun, man. And it's good, and it helps.
It's so much fun.
Get them to relax.
Yeah, and just getting the dogs around, comfortable with other dogs. And now, when we first started, people were so tight-lipped with their information. Oof. I decided anything that we learned, I would share with everybody.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that they're not very forthright, and they want to tell you that stuff.
Yeah, I tell everybody. Anything I know, I'll tell you.
For sure. Yeah, Richard mentioned, I've actually never even heard of a lactated ringer. I had to look that up, but it's an IV solution for dehydration. I actually looked that up. So that's it's like an IV bag, but it's a specific brand of IV bag. So that's definitely something to look into.
For sure.
Let's see. Jack Smith, Texas air freshener. I guess we're on the matches thing.
Well, just like that, I'm sure a lot of people didn't think about digging a den.
Yeah.
That's genius.
Well, it's funny.
Oh, man, everybody comes over and they just trip out. They say, "What's that for?" And then all of a sudden, a dog comes out from underneath it, and they're like, "Holy cow!" It really works well.
Little shelter over top of it, basically.
Well, like I said, there's three sides that are this sheetrock that's like concrete backer, right? And then what I'll do is I'll cut that out. I'll put that in 3 walls, and then I'll stake it in so it doesn't collapse down on them. In case there were much rain, and then I'll dig around the outer perimeter of that, and I'll put down block light, and then in the earth, and then I'll make my own platform out of some pressure treated wood, and I'll put 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch plywood, and then that goes right on top of that hole, and one side is open, so they can go underneath there. So it's basically the doghouse, and this platform is on top of that hole,
right.
And
so it's basically like a doghouse in the ground.
Yeah,
basically that's it. Yeah,
that's genius.
And it works out. Like I said, it's saved me a lot of heartache.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Yeah, it's kind of the same concept of concrete tends to hold temperature. If you get concrete cooled down, it stays cooler for a while before, as the air temperature comes up. Kind of the same thing. The Earth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I got some of here.
We heading that way?
We're going to go see it.
We are.
Yeah. Excuse my kennels. I haven't had a chance to clean
them. We know. It's not cool enough yet.
Yeah, but I want to show you this real quick. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
See, and then the next kennel over's got it. See, every kennel has got this hole underneath it. This guy's got it right here. See, he's got it right there.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean,
Looks like
And that's where they all are.
that's what they all are.
like someone might modify it themselves a little bit back
Oh
in.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I bet
You
they
know,
love that.
Yeah, you'll see. Like I said, it. See,
Yeah, perfect.
That's
see,
awesome.
see, it's got the brick around the edge, and then go down there, and it's still kind of damp in there, right? But
Right.
tonight I'll come on here and I'll clean all the poop up and everything, and then I'll soak it all down with the water hoses, you know, and keep it. But like I says, it gets extremely hot, man.
Yeah, but look how nice and shaded that is. I bet they're way cooler. That's fantastic.
That's amazing. Having them
That's
under
a
trees help too. That's a good.
Oh man, by far, man. It's something where it does make a huge difference. But that's that little hole down there. I'm telling you, man, it's such a cheap fix, and it'll save your dog's lives, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
Where did you get the idea to do that?
girlfriend used them. I've always been, I'm a country boy, so I've always wondered, what would a dog do? What would the dog in the wild do?
Yeah.
So you think about every dog that you see, they have a wolf den. You know what I mean? Basically,
Right.
dogs in the wild, first thing they do is go to ground. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's where I got the idea from. And not only that, but every time I ever had a dog, they would try to find a swamp cooler and dig a hole underneath there because the water would be dripping down there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I decided, something I might as well just help them out. You know what I'm saying? And
That's really an awesome idea.
And it's been a blessing. I've done that for years, man. I mean, and it's again, like I said, it's a cheap remedy. You don't have to go out and buy a bunch of crazy stuff or do any kind of electrical or plumbing. I'll actually show you the lick spots. Anything like that.
They seem pretty happy. Did nobody want to come out and visit us?
No, they're in the house right now. That's why. Because yeah. That's why. Because it's like I said, anytime it gets like 105 and above, like I said, right now it was 100. What was it? 110 or something right now. Tomorrow 115. So I bring them in after that because I don't want to take any chances. I mean, I try to keep them out as much as I can. You know, saying and do that. You saying. And I know a lot of people use misters. As a gentleman said here, he had misters now. I'm not a fan of them, man, because my dogs end up getting rain rot, and it's ironic because even though I soak these holes, they don't get the fungi or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so hot, it just absorbs all that water. So it's not really a dampness,
right,
per se. You know what I'm saying? It's just cool earth, and I say so. The other thing, misters out here, I think they make the air heavy, and sometimes I think it just makes the dogs even more miserable. I mean, but like I said, I love I used to have misters, and I said, I'm not gonna do misters no more. I'm just gonna do these holes, and now they've acclimated really well. I mean, I've had no issues.
I would have never thought of that. That's an awesome setup.
It's so crazy because even if I were to ever do a solid concrete floor, I think I would still leave a cutout in the concrete and in each kennel so that I could do the same concept. As crazy as it may sound, what I'm saying, but I think it works so good for me. I don't think I'll abandon it, even if if I were to put just concrete all the way out. And saying I would still do a 3x3 cutout. I'm saying, and then have them so they can go in and out of there. And every summer we go down there and we have to clean some dirt out. I don't know where the extra dirt comes in, but it happens through the year. We go back there, we clean it all out. We take the dirt out and make sure it's nice and soft again. Turn the earth and so that. The other thing we do is, in the process of taking the dogs out and doing that, we'll put down like Ortho Max, basically, which is like a lawn insecticide.
Right.
And we'll put that throughout the entire kennel. Then we'll wet it down with the Orthomax on, and then let it dry because that's how you're supposed to do it. And it's not, and we've never had them hurt the dogs, that stuff. So when we do that, I don't like putting anything on them because they already dogs die left and right from cancer. So I don't put any kind of. I do once in a while. I shouldn't say I don't put any. I do it when I have to, but I have not put like front line or anything on my dogs in years, man. And we don't have any kind of a flea issue. This year we did. We had, but it was everywhere in California. Had like a breakout of fleas or something. But usually we do that, and it works great.
Right.
The other thing I may do just to kill fungus and stuff. I may throw down some regular old sulfur like they use in the ag. You know what I'm saying? And that's just to help aid in killing any kind of fungus or anything that's in the ground, so you don't get ringworm and all that stuff. But that's about it. I mean, and
that's a beautiful setup.
Praise God that I haven't had any issues. It's old and beat up. It doesn't look very pretty, man. But man, it's efficient, man.
As long as the dogs love it, that's all that matters.
Jack's calling for a Ron book. Ron needs to write a book.
You know something, man? I've thought about it for years. Throughout the years, I wanted to write a book just like on breeding. I learned a lot of stuff from people in the AKC. This one gentleman, I'll give you an example, and I shouldn't say anything, but I actually do want to write a book, but I'm just not that gifted. This guy had you've seen like a little drawing of just to make it understandable, like a bearskin rug.
Mm-hmm.
Little legs sticking out of the head and a tail, right? This guy would draw. He had these pages, right, with all these little cutouts like that, right? And as the puppies were being born, he'd draw in the markings into that blank, right? So he could identify each puppy. He'd weigh it, and it'd be like a diary for that pup, and it'd have the weight when he gained his weight, when he did this, and it did really well.
That's awesome. I put low collars on them and weigh them every day.
Yeah.
No, I understand, Brian. Trust me, Brian. I mean, but I'm not the most gifted writer, man.
Listen, they got these apps now. You can just talk to them.
I need to do that for reals, man. Yeah, I'm saying.
You could.
He had mentioned Mr. because Westy and I were having a conversation. With our kennel building, you go in with your water hose and you clean, but then you have a humidity problem, right? You squeeze the floors, you set all the water down the drain, you still have a humidity problem. And then, so what we noticed is as it starts getting hotter, the humidity level starts going up in the building. And now you're going to have skin issues. You're starting to get, funguses on the skin, ear infections, all this crazy stuff starts happening to the dogs when that humidity level gets too high. So we run dehumidifiers, but unfortunately, the way a dehumidifier works, it cools that grate on the front and attracts the moisture to that grate. But the product of that is heat. It blows heat out of the side of it.
All right.
You're in a building where you're trying to maintain temperature, and then you got basically a little furnace going, that's blowing heat out of it.
Well, do you have like an exhaust fan? Would that help?
Mm-hmm. We do, but what's weird, it's like, I don't know if maybe the evaporation rate isn't fast enough. And, so basically it's a weird balance because you're trying
I just had a thought, Roger. Whatever, you ever seen when there's been water damage in the building?
Mm-hmm.
And you ever see the little fans that they sit to the ground and they actually blow the air?
Mm-hmm.
Just maybe you should they got them at Costco. Maybe you could throw a couple of those in there just to evaporate it quickly.
Right.
With the exhaust.
Yeah, we have one of those little ones that look like a turbo thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking, wonder if we moved it back by the exhaust fan.
Well, and that's
you want to dry that ground up fast as possible. So I mean, if you were throw like about 3 or 4 of those in there just for like set them on a timer even.
In the winter we use hot water to clean the floors because hot water tends to evaporate.
Heat up the concrete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it heats up the concrete, keeps the dogs warm, but on the same time that hot water seems to evaporate quicker. And the other thing is run the exhaust fan again, summertime, right? 100 degrees or 90 degrees outside.
It's a blowtorch in there.
Yeah. So yeah, I can turn the exhaust fan on to get the humidity out, but I'm also stuck in 90-degree weather into my
Well,
building.
but think about it this way: it's if you only use it for cleaning process after you do your watering down, maybe if you do it late in the evening or early morning, and then get it out right away, and then kill the fan so that hot air isn't going in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we just ordered 2 huge fans for the ceiling.
Yeah, we've ordered 96-inch ceiling fans for the big ass fans.
Yeah. In commercial buildings, you got those. They were pretty good. They say they were pretty
Yeah.
good.
And we got 2 of those that we're going to run simultaneously just for air circulation. Because right now we're running 5-foot, just like the rolling fans. You know, they got the wheel you roll around. These are like 5 foot tall. They're huge, but the noise level is ridiculous. It's like 8 decibels all day long, and they're just ripping and tearing with these fans, which they keep them cool because literally it's a 60-foot building. I can put the fan on one end of the building, and you can feel the air on the other end of the building. Like it.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it circulates all the way around.
But unfortunately, a lot of electricity use, like our electric bill is wild when we're running those 2 fans. And
solar, man, solar.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, our electric bill in just our kennel is $500 a month.
Oh my goodness, girlfriend.
But just like Brian had said here, the problem is the air has too much humidity in it already. Because of our location, we tend to have high humidity naturally. So even bringing the air can only absorb so much water, and it's already high humidity. And you bring it into a building with wet floors, makes it tough.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you do it like early morning, late at night, to get that out of there, I mean, you're still gonna have humidity regardless. But by adding that water, you're really raising the humidity levels up pretty high. So like I said, if you do it early morning, late night, or something like that,
for sure,
throw those fans on real quick, and get that out of there, and then you're done for the day.
Brian, or the white noise of the fans keeps the dogs calm.
or get a concrete saw cutter and cut yourself some wolf dens.
There you go. Now we're talking. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, my dogs, I kid you not, people trip out. Like I said, this be 105 here. And I got a dog like Boom Boom, which is he's hilarious because to see this guy, he's like a bodybuilder, right? And it's kind of funny because he's maybe 15 inches, pretty cobby. And when he runs, you've seen the guys come out of the gym and they can't even put their arms down. You know what I'm saying? Because they're so so muscled up in their chest and their arms. Well, that's what he runs almost like that. He doesn't run very gracefully, like this. It's like a skinny sprinter versus a big giant bodybuilder, and it's funny because he doesn't look graceful, man. But I'm sure there's a solution to everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, Gary here brought up a good is the outlet of the dehumidifier going to the exhaust outside. And the only the only reason we haven't done something like that is because we eventually plan on doing central AC in the building. So I'm trying not to modify the building with too many holes for something.
But the beauty of your dehumidifier, if you think about this for a second, if you duck it right, okay, if you duck it properly, you can duck it so that you can put a diverter in there. In other words, wintertime, divert the heat air to the inside. Summertime, close the diverting door, or whatever it may be, and blow it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now you can use it, more efficiently.
Yeah, we use it almost 24/7 in the wintertime. Like I'll set the humidity level. The dehumidifier is good for like 5,000 square feet, and our building is like 2,400. So we'll turn that on, and I'll set the humidity like 40%, and
it'll warm up the building.
It'll warm up the building, but you'll come out in the morning and their pee, like if they pee in the floor overnight, it will dry up their pee, and they'll just be like cracked up dried pee on the floor. Like
I believe that must work hella good then, man.
Yeah, it works great. And it's, but the only situation is like, Westy and I are kind of in that situation where our humidity level is like in the 80% right now, and then we're fighting heat on top of that. So it's tough.
No, I believe it, man. I believe that. Well, you should have put um, piping within the concrete when you lay the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you can use that both ways. You can use it to cool and heat by running water. You
Yeah.
you're just recycling the water. You know what I'm saying? I know that in some places they use that to heat homes. They use the hot water heater and they run it through the floor and it warms the home. Yeah. There's all kinds of things you can do, man. You know what I'm saying?
Funny Brian mentioned that because I've noticed that too. I have 3 12-foot garage doors on the front of the building. I can close the building up completely and turn the exhaust fan on, and it will literally, you can hear it suck the garage doors up against the rails.
Oh, yeah.
Pull the garage doors open to let that air in. So yeah, we're in a constant battle there, and some dogs are more sensitive to it. You know, when we first got into bullies, everyone was like, "Oh, the blues have skin problems. Blues have skin problems." And honestly,
man, I've been hearing that for years, and man, I don't have skin problems with my blue dog.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had it. You know,
ours is our chocolate dog.
Yeah, we have a couple of chocolate dogs, and it's not even like Seven's. He's solid chocolate. We've never had a problem with him, but we have 2 chocolate tries, and they are constantly in some kind of situation, like ear infections or their fur's falling out or something's going on with them.
Man, I battle with that with maybe 1 or 2 dogs, and I'll be honest, I mean, I wish there was a solution because I get so tired of trying to figure out what's going to work best that day. Even the medications that I get sometimes are not very efficient. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's mainly like you say, it's mainly like air problems but what I've been hearing though, and I've been, it's funny you say it because I've been researching a little bit, is I've been hearing that colostrum is like really good for those situations. You feed your dogs colostrum on a regular basis, and it's supposed to take away a lot of the ear infections, skin problems, all that stuff. So I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna give that a try. And the other thing they're talking about is honey. You know, but how safe is honey for the dog? So you know.
Yeah, well, dogs are subject to spikes in blood sugar too. So that could be
Yeah.
I wonder if it's, but that's actually supposed to be a good sugar, like a natural honey, not like.
Right. Yeah, and you know, I'm probably I'm gonna try it though. My probably gonna give me some Manuka. You know, that's so damn expensive. So I go to like a grocery outlet and get it like discounted because it's so damn expensive. But that's what I might end up doing just to give it a try.
Westy said, "Hit him up. He'll show you the one that works."
For sure, man. Send it to me, brother. I mean, I could use it, man. Trust me. That's my only issue, like I said, is that. And then I got one little guy that he's a little shorty bull, and his problem is hot spots. You know, other than that, man, he's cool. But man, there's some of those those little problems sometimes are the ones that are just like a pain in the ass, man. They're just so hard to get rid of. And oh my God, did you drive me mad?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't can't really blame it on blues because I don't think now it may be dilute dogs. What in the hell was that? It may be dilute dogs, dogs that are like blue or chocolate, because they are dilute. They may be subject to skin conditions, but it's not every dog because I have blues and chocolates that have never had a problem.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I do too. I have Maki. He's a chocolate boy. I've had him forever, and nothing. You know, see, colostrum will help. See, that's what I'm saying. See, I've been doing some research and they're saying that's a big help. You know,
listen, Brian needs to get on here.
No, we can put him on here.
Yeah, add Brian.
Brian, you got time?
Oh man, this Mexican's gonna be outnumbered by hillbillies. Oh shit.
Let me see what he's up to.
Yeah, add Brian.
What the hell? That's not what I was looking for. Hold on a second. I'll shoot him a link real quick and we'll see if we can get him in here.
Yeah.
He's been on here before, so he knows.
I'm going to get our chocolate girl. They said as soon as she heals up this time, her chocolate try, I'm going to do a full-blown allergy panel on her.
Yeah. Try to figure out, because we isolated her just to see what we could figure out, And
you know, Brian, but I don't have that kind of problem with my dilutes, man. I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, I've had some skin issues, but it hasn't been really like the blue dogs and stuff like that.
No, we've never had a problem with Machiavelli.
Yeah, isolated specific dogs seem to be. Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I've had blue dogs forever, man.
See if...
Oh, that was my number one. I mean, the very first American Bully I ever saw was a blue, and I was like, I will have that.
Yeah. And actually, Kimber is dilute. She's blue.
She's a blue fawn.
Yeah, and she never has skin problems.
Mm-mm.
She gets flakes, so she'll get like looks like
dry.
Yeah.
A little bit of coconut oil, and she's good to go.
Yeah, I think Richard said more problem with blue fawns. She gets a lot of dry skin, and you have to try to keep her well hydrated, her skin well hydrated.
And it's so funny, man, because I'll make my own concoctions.
What's that?
Oh, there he is. Oh shit! Look what the cat drug in.
That's a big ass cat, Ron.
I
I don't know what's going on here.
I had problems with mine earlier.
What was it?
My earpods.
Oh, earpods.
You need to get AirPods like mine.
What,
mine
like a rock and a string?
They're hearing aids.
Rock and a string.
Like 2 cans and a string. We lost him altogether.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He's on his rock and a string.
But
all right, there we go.
There we go.
I just had to disconnect him and reconnect him.
All right, I'm gonna let you guys all talk. Everybody have a great evening.
Oh man, the pretty one's leaving.
See you, Dina.
Bye, honey.
Bye, Dina.
So you added Brian. You added another AC unit to the building. What you said?
Yeah. Does that make it better? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I added another AC unit, and it has seemed to make a difference. I replaced one with a bigger one. Really, is what I did. Much bigger, but okay. I feel like I could add even more. But like you said, the kennel building electricity bill is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then when I get to the point
where the kennel building's like $600-700.
Yeah, when I was getting $500 a month electric bills, I was like, I'm pretty sure I could run an AC unit for that kind of money.
Yeah, it's not crazy. I put solar in my home, right? But
yeah,
people have to be careful when you buy solar because it's kind of a scam. Because the reason being I say that is because if you can't afford to buy it out cash, and you have to pay monthly payments, it's like paying a power bill anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So my friend sells that. And he said that years ago when there was a lot more incentives, it was the thing to do, but now it really isn't. So it's not really worth doing.
Well, yeah, like I said, if you can buy them cash, it is because you'll pay off that unit probably in 3 to 4 years. Because and the other thing you have to be careful about is when you get your solar in is that you're used to being thrift, right? So when you put solar in, you think, I'll leave the AC on a little longer, and your bill starts to go up. So now you're back to paying maybe $100, $200 a month, but it still beats the $500 to $600 a month.
Right.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I paid off my unit within 4 years when I bought it cash.
Not everybody's got all that cash like you got.
No, you know what I did, man, is I sold some of my 401k to buy it. I did that too, man. But no, I actually sold some of my stocks that I had, and for my retirement to purchase it, and it was well worth it, man. Believe it or not, man.
That's a solid
it saved me a lot of money.
It should pay off in the long run. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does, man. It really does. But and then ironically, because they want to sell me more panels, And another company came out and said, well, you know, how much is your bill, your true up? And I said, it's maybe like 150, you know, a month. Oh, well, you know, you only need a couple more. But they want to try to sell me the same amount I bought the last time, like 20 panels. I said, you're trying to tell me for $100, you're trying to sell me a complete unit. You're not helping me out.
Yeah, because they want to be able to buy electric from you because they buy it for nothing.
Right.
That's the reason why. They want you to overproduce.
Exactly what they want you to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, does the electric company pay you for your excess? Like when you?
Yeah, but they don't pay you shit. And then here's the even bigger problem. Say they buy all your electricity, right? Let's say that you're in excess of 1 kilowatt today, and tomorrow there's no sun, and you can't run off of your panels. You can't go back into like your piggy bank and get your 1 kilowatt. You got to still buy your 1 kilowatt from them at today's rate. So it's not like a fair exchange. If you have a battery bank, you don't have to tap in that way. But a battery bank is expensive, and it's how do you say it? Like not really cost effective, depending how much you're actually using it because of the maintenance on the batteries. You know, so.
Yeah, then you got to buy a battery every so many years.
Right, exactly. That's what I meant.
It's insane, man. Yeah, you know, the sad thing is there's ways around all this stuff, but they're not going to tell you. You know,
bureaucracy benefits themselves, not you. It's not meant to benefit the consumer.
Yeah, when I first started looking for AC, you know, I was looking at those like little PTAC units. You know, that a lot of people use, like, you know, hotel rooms use those.
Right, they just go against the wall.
Oh yeah.
And I started looking at those PTAC units, and I started talking to, you know, a guy I trust that's HVAC, and he said, your environment will destroy that thing in a year. He said,
yeah, because of the acidity and the chemicals and everything. Yeah. And the hair and everything.
Yeah. He said it'll destroy that unit in a year. You have to have a commercial unit that draws outside air into the system, cools it down, and then shoves it into the building. That way you're not drawing, like you do recirculation, but it uses fresh air to cool. That way you're not recirculating air. You're not getting a bunch of dog hair in your unit and all that.
I don't tend to have that problem, but
you just use like standard house filters.
My God, man.
Well, go ahead, Ron.
No, you're talking about the hair, right?
Yeah.
That happened. My puppy room was in my laundry room for the longest time, right? And that's where my damn duct goes for my AC. So, man, oh my God, they had to take my unit out, and the coils in there were so caked with hair and stuff. I was like, holy shit, man! I thought I was going to have to buy a new unit, but thank God the guy destroyed. He tore it completely down, cleaned it all out, and put it back in. So I stopped using that for my puppy room, man. It was like unbelievable.
You got to change filters really regularly, Roger. And the other thing that I did, like in my back room, I have like a smaller filter. So it's actually like 14 by 14. It's way too small really for what I did, or for what I'm using it for rather. But what I did was I went and bought 5 filters, and I take the one that would be against the wall as the main filter, and I move it out. And then I take the other 4 filters and I tape them around it so that's the same size. So now it's 5-sided, and then I just put it in the hole, and it works really well, and it lasts a whole lot longer. When I start to see it kind of suck in, I know that it's time to change it.
I got you. Yeah, because even those filters aren't cheap. My air conditioning unit in the house, it's got this accordion style filter. You like stretch it out, shove it in the unit, and they're like $20 a piece. I'm like, that's crazy. Paying all this money for a piece of paper, basically.
Yeah.
But we have the advantage of we at least have shelter for the dogs, and too many times we've seen people cut their dogs out in their yards and just leave them. And like they're just not paying attention. Dogs overheat. And, it seems like every year we see that on Facebook. Someone, I lost a dog today, and put the
People
dog.
Really
outside.
don't understand how hard it is for a short muscled dog to get rid of heat. And a lot of those situations are actually compounded by anxiety. So even in your yard or somewhere where a dog's familiar, when they're outside and they're in duress or they want to come inside, they start to get worked up, and as they start to get anxious from that, they start to hyperventilate naturally, and then they start to build more heat, and the whole thing spins out pretty fast. So I think that happens a lot more than people really realize.
No, that's fact. The stress, And the other thing too is I think some people don't understand that in summertime you need to cut back on food. You know, my dogs they automatically do it. I don't even have to do it. They'll let me know when it's time to cut back. They stop eating all their food.
Yeah, we shaved.
Nature kind of does that.
We've shaved like 10 pounds off of Seven since the weather started getting hot. And
I believe it. Big difference.
It's helped him tremendously, you know. But he's not like at this moment. He's not in that condition where you would take him out and like do all the stack offs and all that shit, right? You know, he's not in show condition. He's in hot weather condition right now, trying to keep him cool and not overheat.
No, you have to. I mean, that's what I do. Same thing happens here. I cut these guys way back. What do you guys do for like? Well, you probably don't have any issues like I do. For like wintertime. See, I can't put like beds in there or any kind of stuff like that because my dog just destroy it, man. I've got these beds that were supposed to be like, you know, guaranteed not to be your dog couldn't destroy them. My dog tear them apart in like 20 minutes, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we use straw.
Okay.
And we really
Ron, you keep your dogs outside, but Roger and I don't have outside dogs, so in the wintertime it's kind of the same as the summer. So
yeah, you guys are lucky. Mine are all outside. So
I don't know if that's luck. It's kind of a curse, really.
Yeah. Caranda beds is what we use. It's like as aluminum metal beds with the vinyl on them.
Right.
And
yeah, they work pretty well.
In the summertime, though, 99% of the time the dogs are laying on the floor, right? Because the concrete's cool. So you'll see you go in and no one's laying on their bed. They're all laying on the floor.
I don't use beds any longer. I just use horse mats. My dogs don't tend to prefer the beds. They turn them into toys or don't lay on them. So, but the one thing that they always like is the horse mat. So I'm like, well, you kind of dictated this yourself. This is what you got. So they're kind of a pain in the ass because they're really heavy to move and clean. But other than that, they're convenient.
Oh, dude, I had a horse mat. That thing is so damn heavy.
Yeah,
you're damn right.
You gotta clean them because not that ammonia starts setting in there and man, it starts smelling atrocious and shit, man. And like the next thing you know, you lift it up and your concrete is green because it's actually got mold in the concrete, man. So it's
that was one reason we started out with a horse because the standard stall mat is almost the size of a 5x10. Like it almost fits in there perfect.
Right.
And if I'd have thought about it, I would have bought them and cut them into sections and just made like a bed almost for them.
Yeah.
That probably would have worked out.
The problem with that, though, when you do cut them and make them smaller and more convenient for you, it also makes it more convenient for the dog to treat it as a toy. And then they chew the shit out of them and drag them around. And that's the downside to that.
Yeah.
Everything has its, up and down. Or it's good and bad points.
Yep. And I got one dog. He doesn't want to sleep on the floor. He wants to sleep on his bed, but it's too hot. So what does he do? He flips his bed upside down and then lays on it.
So he gets the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
So he's smarter you think then. See?
Yeah, he laid on his bed.
That's what I was going to say. He's a problem solver.
No shit.
Chicago.
Here's another thing. Since we're on the subject of mats, is in my puppy room, I'll put down like a welcome mat on the bottom. But what I found that works fantastic is they have a welcome mat, but it's charcoal infused.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And and it cuts down the smell tremendously.
I was gonna say it would, yeah.
Oh, it works great in the puppy room. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you get them at?
Home Depot of all places, dude. It's a what is it? It's a 3 foot by 4 foot or something like that.
Okay.
And I mean, charcoal. They look for it. Say it on there, charcoal infused. And man, when I started using those, man, it was fantastic, man. It made a big difference. I mean, you got to clean like you do regularly, but that smell, it takes away that smell immediately. There's not a lot of bad smell. Works out great.
Yeah. Do you put it under chips, like when you start, or do you use chips?
No, you know what I do, believe it or not, I prefer using shredded paper, man. But it's a pain in the ass.
Okay, you put it under that when they start to get a little bigger, though?
Yeah.
Or do you only use it when they're small?
I do it when they start walking around their own and they're pooping and stuff like that. I put it underneath there, and mom's no longer cleaning, and I put shredded paper in. I'm trying to find a decent shredder because all the shredders now cut all the paper to that micro cut
Right.
now, so they don't do the long strips anymore. So hard to find that, and I burn them up because.
Get Justin to do that with a scissors.
There you go.
Shit, I can't. That guy, you kidding, man? He helps a lot, though. He does help me a lot now.
So, Ron, at what age do the pups go transition to outside? Like, you keep them inside for so long?
Well, I got pups right now that are, 7, 8 weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
And I take them outside right now, and then I bring them in during the heat.
Okay.
But they're going outside already. But that's on the concrete one, that is solid concrete floor.
Right.
I'll do that there with them. I'll put them over there. But what I did find out also that helps me a lot that I really like is we all experience, soft puppy poop, which is I hate it to clean up, man. It's the worst. I no longer use goat's milk to transition. I don't do any of that transition no more. They go straight to kibble.
Mm-hmm.
But the kibble that I found that I just love on these guys, coats, poop, everything, is open farm puppy food. And that stuff, man. You can get it like at your major pet foods places, but man, I'll tell you right now, man, when they poop, it's solid, man. There's no, you can put your rubber gloves on there, go in there and pick it right up and throw it in the, that's how solid it is, man. You just
right.
Come on, man. Not with the gloves. You just do that barehanded.
I've done it a few times. Trust me, man. You've been around dogs long enough. You'll see one piece of shit in the corner. Say, pick it up to the garbage can.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I've become a master of the flat shovel.
There you go. See,
I can scoop up shit.
You do that quick motion.
Even though there's not enough room.
People are gonna laugh. People are gonna laugh, but there's even a skill to using even a pooper scooper.
Yep.
To make sure that you get it all off the lawn or whatever. But
yep.
But this open farm, they have one that has grain and one with no grain. I do the no grain, and they're both really good though. Don't get me wrong. But the poop is just solid as a rock, man. And it's easy clean. I hate soft poop, man, to clean up puppies, man. That's too much work.
Expensive?
It's a little expensive. It's like 22 pounds for $80.
Woo!
Man. Wow. I would say that's a lot expensive.
Yeah.
Man, but the convenience of cleanup is well worth it to me, man. I mean, and none of that. But I feed them.
Ron, I'm actually making food right now.
I know what you're doing already.
I'm actually making food right now. Yeah, I know you know. But you had said about the colostrum. There's the brand. Wait, the camera's backwards. Wait a minute. I got to go like this.
There you
Can
go.
you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Screenshot that. That's the stuff that works. I use it every day.
I can't read the name of it. But
first colostrum. Is that where you get that Tractor Supply?
So you can get this at Valley Vet in different places. I
is that the Land of Brian? Is that the Land of Lakes brand?
Yeah, Land of Lakes. You can get it at Walmart in the refrigerated section. No, it's called. No, this is called Labelle Colostrum, and when you buy colostrum, the thing that is important is that it's first colostrum and that it's actually first colostrum. So what first colostrum means is that it is actually when the cow gives birth, they collect the colostrum that first day.
Yeah, it's
right. So colostrum from the next couple days is not anywhere near as effective. So this also has a E. coli antibody in it, which is helpful. But the reason I choose this is that it works, it's readily available, and it's inexpensive. Some colostrum is insanely expensive. Like you can get a jar of human grade stuff off of Amazon for $200 or $300. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man, forget that.
This is I think this is like $15 or $16, and I use a tablespoon per dog per day.
And if I know you, Brian, when you get your colostrum, you want it fresh squeezed.
Yeah.
Say, speaking of fresh squeeze, where's Hans?
None of that second-rate stuff. Yeah. Anyway, where is Hans?
Han? Yeah, he said he had some stuff to do. He wasn't going to make it tonight. I said, that's fine.
Okay.
I said, you do what
Maybe he's on his way here.
Well, they've got not only that, they've got a couple of litters, I think, right? Not just bullies either. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that colostrum. The first place I found it was valleyvet.com. Trying to see if
that's where I buy it.
Trying to see if anyone else has it.
Send that picture to me. I didn't know how to save it on there. But...
Okay, yeah, I'll send you a link.
And then, no, but it's so funny. That's
but it worked really well
today. I was researching that today, and one of the ones I seen was actually Land O'Lakes. They make it also, and everybody makes their own. Purina makes some, whatever it may be. Because I've been hearing a lot of stuff that is supposed to really help quite a bit, so I'm on my way of doing that. I'm tired of this. But what I was going to tell you earlier, also, we were talking about all this stuff about the yeast infections. They get some of them get them in their paws. They get the cyst in there between their toes and stuff. What I started doing for that stuff, believe it or not, is I ran down to Rite Aid or wherever you have over there, CVS, whatever, and I got the vaginal cream, and I mixed that with like antifungal, and then I also use I put it with Desenex. And the reason I use Desenex, because it also helps fight all those rashes and stuff, right? But the reason I add Desenex, I make my own little concoction, is the Desenex is so damn pasty and thick. It stays on. A lot of stuff you use, it doesn't stay on and it's gone in a minute. But by adding that Desenex, it's such a thick, dense paste, it stays on there, man.
And you're using that like between toes and stuff?
Yeah, anytime I get like a something that I feel like it's a fungus growing on or something that,
we talked about
it
that
helps
before.
Yeah, and it really helps.
I think I hate about using it because it's such a pasty white. Like in my kennel, if you put it on,
it's all over the floor.
And they jump up it's on the kennels, it's all over the floor, and it does not spray off the water. Like you have to.
No, it stays on there. But that's why I use it, because I want it to stay on their paws and stuff. I mean, I know it's a pain in the ass. Trust me, I totally get it. But the thing is, there's some. Maybe you just don't put it on so dense, rub it on there till you can't see it no more, but it's still going to be stuck on there really good. But it really helps a lot, man.
For you guys wanting to know, I put the link to the Valley Vet in the comments, but the only comments it's going to show up on is if you're watching on the Gervais podcast page or you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on my personal, that link doesn't come through.
Right.
I apologize. It's just a pain in the ass way it does with this. I'll try to do it. Let's see if I can do it. But good information there for sure. I don't think I need to try to look into that myself. I have not.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like I said today, I was doing some research on it because I'm so tired of it. I heard it before. I never did it, but now that we got some validation.
It strengthens the immune system.
Right. Yes.
Another thing that's been
great
talked about a lot. Jeez. Another thing that helps a lot that I haven't tried that I've read a lot about though, Ron, is vaginal smears. So it's said that the immune system of our dogs are compromised, or any dog is born via C-section is compromised because it doesn't get the vaginal cytology from natural birth. So they're saying to do it actually when they're puppies, to take vaginal smears and like put it in the mouth, rub it all over the dog so they can get that bacteria essentially, and their immune system be able to be built from it.
Well, I never thought about doing it like that. That's a good one. I'm gonna do that next time.
They say it's a real problem.
I was just reading about that I didn't realize that it was that important for them to come out that birth canal and get that bacteria from the mother. That's wild. And I just read about that, and I didn't think about actually.
The thing that I think about to take that a step further though is, so you have a mother that you're vaginal swabbing to give that to a puppy, right? But what if the mother was also born via C-section, which he or she was, and didn't get that swab? Like, how do I go back in time to gain really what I need? So there's a lot of products that are supposed to be ancient bacteria to give your dogs. Or there's actually Frenchies that have real digestive problems. They actually do. I forget what the procedure is called, but they'll actually take fecal matter from a healthy dog and put it into that dog. It's some kind of procedure. They pump basically
actually do that
shit
to-
into your dog, so
Right.
it can reset the gut.
They do that to humans, believe it or not. There's certain illnesses they get, and they have to,
Yeah,
I guess,
I
reload them
saw
with
something
shit,
about that
man.
where you can sell your stool. Yeah, you can sell your stool, but you need to be like a qualified, person where you meet all these criteria, and then you can actually sell your shit so they can put it in other people's mouths.
I don't think they put
Pretty
it in the
interesting
mouth.
concept.
I think they put it into your gut somehow through
Well,
your
I
rectum.
like to picture it in their mouth myself, but it's a bit more dramatic.
You're a sick
I
fool,
th-
man.
you can actually somewhere find that. Well, probably in a lot of places. But if you have like a porn filter on your computer, you won't be able to find it. It's a fetish, I believe. But
Take it easy, fetish man.
I'll bring that up. This is that information about the transfer of fecal matter. It's actually fecal.
what is it called?
Fecal microbia transplant, FMT.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, it's a real thing, man.
Yeah, FMT. That's interesting. And I wonder,
I'm a wealth of
transplant
weird information.
fecal matter from healthy donor into gastrointestinal tract of the recipient to restore healthy gut flora.
Yep.
Now, some people may go the route of just, what is that? It's lost. I've lost it. Probiotics. Some people
Okay.
do
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I use that every day also, but it's nowhere near as effective as what we're saying. So they're actually saying that there's something, and I'm not 100% on it, but like ancient wolf gut balance, there's some way to try to obtain that through some maybe probiotic, which is geared towards that or something. I'm not 100% on that,
But do you know how hard it is
their
to
gut
catch it?
was way better.
Right.
You catch an ancient wolf?
Yeah, you know how hard that is, man.
Well, as long as you have the ability to time travel, or you can go 88 miles an hour and you have a DeLorean, you can probably do that.
There you
Fairly
go.
easy.
So that's interesting. I'll probably just go the route of probiotics, but it's good to know. We can do that.
I may
Because
try
it's
to time travel.
Another good one. If you
It's done via enema, so literally you're taking poop. And
this whole thing that the dog industry has gotten so expensive, like the probiotics, prebiotics, all that stuff. It's gotten outrageous, man. And then they want to sell you this little tiny tub, right, for 30 days. Yeah, you can buy that, but if you go to most of these places,
Everything's backwards.
right?
yeah, it's right. It's right for us though.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so expensive that when you got 15 dogs, it's outrageous, man. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that one I just showed you is pretty cheap. That's the most
I've
affordable
seen that
one.
one. I get that.
This works well also, but this is expensive.
I don't know what that is. Can you see it?
I'm trying to bring it. I want to bring him up here on the big. Not me, him. There we go. Fast track.
Yeah, this works pretty well. This is pricey. The Probius is affordable.
I'm going to tell you what works also, and it's probably cheaper and all that stuff, believe it or not, is kefir.
Yeah, I use kefir.
Yeah, you
Or
can go buy kefir.
good yogurt also. It has to be. The only yogurt I know that really works though is now I can't remember the name of it.
Greek yogurt.
Yeah, it's Greek, but there's only one Greek yogurt that's actually guaranteed to have the live cultures in it. I can't think of the name of it. That's terrible. If I try and stop think of it, I'll come up with it. But
I'm starting to think the vet. You must get a lot of stuff from Valley Vet because that fast track came up Valley Vet too.
you can get it there. I actually get it local from a guy cheaper. But
Yeah, you can see it's on there. I don't know if this is the right one.
See, it's that little container. See how much that little container costs?
It's $34.88.
Yeah. And
well, this one I get is what's the weight here? 5 pounds, and it cost me $142.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there was that big container like he has.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, that little container, and then if you got 15 dogs, you're blowing 15 times that a month.
Woo! That's Fortifier. That's something else. Okay. I was trying to find the other one.
Yeah, taking care of these dogs ain't cheap. That's for damn sure.
There we go. This is Fast Track Probiotic. This is a different size container. 4-pound bag is $59 on that website.
So this is canine microbial supplement.
Mm-hmm. So it is out there. So someone asked, do you think that's why dogs eat other dogs' shit?
There's an imbalance is generally why. Of some nature, they're looking to acquire something. Or they're a Frenchie.
They're
a Frenchie. Frenchies are notorious for that. I swear to God, man.
It's terrible.
But no, and that's, if your dog is eating shit, I guess other than being a Frenchie, that's a sign that nutritionally they're missing something.
Right. Or they have worms, which is the reason they're doing it. The
only difference is if he eats it on a Ritz cracker, he's just hungry.
He's just fancy.
No, yeah, he's pinky up, bro.
Oh my God!
But yeah, that's always something to pay attention to, especially with younger dogs. I try not to overfeed younger dogs, but that's one thing.
Joe right here talks about sauerkraut. I always wondered if that works because sauerkraut's supposed to be
It has to. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. But I don't
anything like that. Anything that's fermented. What's that called? Fermented, yeah. So actually, I use well, you know that, Ron, but I use Rogue 5-in-1 and Rogue Pumpkin Pro every day. But Rogue Pumpkin Pro, I'll go grab one so I can show it. Hang on. Rogue Pumpkin Pro has obviously pumpkin. Knock it off, guys. Obviously pumpkin, and then turmeric and ginger. But everything that's in the Rogue products is fermented. And that way it is bioavailable because a dog doesn't have a long enough and complex enough digestive tract to be able to extract a lot of things because it's a short digestive tract. So when it's fermented, it's pre-digested, so it makes it bioavailable to a dog. So that kind of kills two birds with one stone.
I've always wanted to use the sauerkraut, but I was afraid if it was going to make their stomach sour or something. I didn't know if they could handle it because there's certain greens and plant-based stuff that the dog can't really tolerate.
They say it works.
I'm going to try that now that you mentioned it. I'm going to go give him some sauerkraut.
We need to get Rogue to sponsor the show. Their name works perfect.
Rogue to sponsor Rogue. I can't use sauerkraut, Ron, because one New Year's day I made pork and sauerkraut, and Denise was wasted on New Year's Eve. And she woke up and ate a bunch of pork and sauerkraut, and she threw up, and now she can't stand the smell of it. So it's forbidden.
Dina makes it every New Year, but she uses her grandmother's recipe, so which has like a shit ton of sugar in it.
Oh no!
It makes it so sweet. I can't eat it. It's too sweet for me. But she loves it.
She's sweet. She's sweet enough. She don't need no sugar.
Yeah, she don't need that. But she'll make a big old pan of it, and she will eat it every day until it's gone.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, where I was raised at, there was a strong German community, so there was always sauerkraut and German sausage, always all the get together and stuff.
Yeah,
but I could never stomach sauerkraut for something. I just couldn't eat it, man.
Be surprised how many people.
So you don't eat it at all?
No, hell no.
You don't know what you're missing out on, man. You need to come back. I'll show you the way.
You Nazis will have to be careful, man. This Mexicans don't eat that kind of stuff, man. Oh my God, I miss you, Brian. I miss you, big dog.
I miss you too, man. I ain't seen you in a minute.
Your ass on. You got to come to California. I already went over there. Now you got to come to California.
Well, I'm trimming the yard. No, I'm trimming the yard down. I'm getting rid of almost. I don't want to say it. I'm getting rid of a lot of dogs, just because. I mean, you know how busy I am and how life is, and my quality of life has greatly diminished because of trying to take care of my dogs and run my business, and everybody's suffering. My family, myself, and my dogs, because I don't have time for anyone, myself included, and it's not fair to anyone. So I'm making a few moves and changing things around, and I'll be able to come see you.
You know, I totally understand you, and this is where a lot of people that want to get into this, and then when they start getting into it, you know, you're a prisoner to your hobby, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not careful,
Absolutely.
man. You know, and thank God I got some kennel help here when I get to run off once in a while. But if it wasn't for the kennel help, it just wouldn't happen, man. And the other thing is,
I can't keep kennel help. That's the problem.
Well, that's
Nobody
just it.
wants
I was
to
going to
do
say,
it.
it's hard to find good kennel help, and
Well, and someone you can trust with the life of your
exactly,
dog.
the trust is the big thing, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard so many people say, "Well, you know, somebody hired somebody, and they let all the dogs out, and now I got 3 dead dogs." I said,
Well,
yeah, you know,
I shouldn't say every dog that I've lost has been at someone else's watch, but pretty much every dog I've lost has been by the hands of someone else. You know, and
no, I believe that.
You know, it's unfortunate. You know, but it's difficult for people to really understand the complexity of the problems that these dogs have. You know, I was just talking to somebody that owns a cowboy son, and he was lost. They lost him over the July 4th weekend. He was at a border, and they warned him. And unfortunately, that night of July 4th, they left and went to the fireworks, and they came back, and he was gone, the border. But they explained to me what happened, and I think really what happened was the dog was alone, and it was outside. But it was night and it was kind of cool, but the dog got anxious from fireworks and whatever else, got itself worked up. And you know as well as I, it's about 10-minute window you got to figure it out, and if you don't have a dog any longer. So.
Yeah, where I'm at, it's a war zone, man. So I got to tranquilize all my dogs, man. They're just like, I swear to God, I feel like I'm in Beirut or something, man. It's 4th of July here, man. It's like,
yeah, you got a bunch of Mexican hillbillies there.
Yeah, it is, man. These guys go crazy over here when it comes to fireworks, man.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because you know, even well, number one, it's in July, so it's already hot as hell. But stress is another one that'll push a dog over the edge. And the fireworks, you know, 4th of July, I just kept my building shut up. I just had to, because the doors are open, especially those big booms, you know, that they launch. That
you can't avoid. They hear that, but
well,
you know if it's just a big boom here or there. Go ahead.
You know, but with that, I was gonna say you could probably put a radio in there to help kind of muffle.
Well,
that boom a little bit.
I have my radio all the time, and I'm sure Roger has something like that too. But even those fans he was talking about running that amount of white noise continually, they don't hear a lot of things, and that's great because. You know, even if it's a little warm and you have a kennel full of dogs and you have 10, 15 dogs in there and something were to happen, someone out there banging on a door trying to get in, or a cat got in somehow or something, all it takes is something like that for them all to get amped up and all be reacting. You know, it's like when you walk into the HPCA, all the dogs start going crazy. If that happens in your kennel with a bunch of bullies and they aren't able to ever calm down, they'll die like that too. So it's
fact.
The white noise helps a lot.
It's funny you mentioned a cat. I had a cat one time. Don't ask me how. Got into the kennel, and that thing it looked like a freaking damn shooting star running in circles inside that kennel. But that dog was trying to get him. And thank God it was one of the more gamier dogs, so he wasn't going to stress out and die of a heart attack. But I mean, it was like. It took me a while to get the damn cat out of there. I wasn't going to touch it because I was afraid it was going to tear my ass apart if it got near it.
So it would have.
Oh yeah. So I finally got it out, but oh my God, that thing was like a bullet in there, like ricocheting off the walls, man. It was like nuts, man.
We had to desensitize our dogs to the goats. You know, Dina's got those goats, and they would walk in because the goats go wherever they want. They don't give a shit. So the door, one of the garage doors is up, and the goats just walk right into the kennel like they own the place. Yeah, and of course, every bully in the building was losing their minds. But we had to get to the point where we kind of restrict the goats. They can be outside the building, but they don't come in. And now the dogs are still getting used to it.
Roger, you need to get an industrial meat grinder like Brian's got over there, and then start feeding goats, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to put the pigs in there over here, but the pigs are the problem here. Like my dogs want to kill pigs so bad it's not even funny. For those listening, my wife has pot-bellied pigs. Ron knows, he's been here. But dogs and pigs are not. You know, pit bulls were bred, not maybe bred, but they were used to do hog hunting and holding, and it's kind of just in these dogs, and they want to kill pigs, so it's a bad thing at my house.
I think it's more of a jealousy thing because the pigs get better treatment over there, and they just, they see your wife all the petting on them and something else.
Yeah, there's that. I'm kind of jealous of them myself.
You're getting acclimated to many different animals at my house. They don't pay no attention to cats anymore. They could care less about cats. But they definitely want to eat goats and deer. Like a deer jumps in the yard. You'd be glad you can outrun a bully because you'd be in deep shit if it wasn't.
Yeah, you'd be mincemeat.
They have quite the attention for.
It's so funny. I got a block-like wall in the back of my yard, right, and that's where the cats cross from one house to the other. They know that this is a no cat zone. They won't even come in the yard. They run up there and the dog go crazy. I already know it's a cat running across the backside. Same thing happened with chickens. There's chickens running across the top of there. They know there's no fly zone over here.
Yep.
They use it like a boardwalk.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
They walk on the top of it.
Now for the dogs that have the drive, those kind of animals are just like Dina's chicken coop. I can cut dogs out. There's certain dogs that have enough drive that they'll go around and run around that chicken coop for an hour. If you let them, trying to get to those chickens, they'll just run and run and run and run. So it's good for exercise
with the pigs.
Yeah, but you got to keep your eye on them, because
man, it's kind of heat right now. That's like take 5 rounds around and fall over dead.
Yeah, so it's like in the fall, I'll let 5 females out together and just let them run the property. But if it's 90 degrees, I'm letting 2 females out, and I'm standing outside the whole time they're outside, and then let them use the bathroom, let them run around and sniff a little bit, get a little bit of outside time, and then back in the building. I just can't leave them out long because they overheat so quick.
No, sir.
I think if you come from, I can't think of, there's probably other breeds that are like that. But if you're a typical guy, if you had a pit bull or you had, just your typical house dog, and you come to this breed,
short muzzled dogs.
Yeah, it takes time for you to adjust to understand that these dogs.
Oh yeah, there's a learning curve with these dogs, man.
Yeah, if you had a German Shepherd or a Lab before you had a bully, it's a completely different world for you.
Yeah, well, and that's why a lot of them wind up dead, because we as people are programmed to think that a dog is kind of like, you just let it go and it does whatever, and it's really hard to switch unless you've been brought up around maybe short muzzled dogs. You don't. It's not something your brain is used to thinking, and then you add to it the anxiety, and it's a whole different monster. I don't really know there's any other breed that's like the American Bully like that.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I was going to tell you guys, years ago, and I used to have one. I don't have one now. But years and years ago, when I was doing the AKC dogs, I was showing Amstaffs, right? At those shows, they got some pretty cool vendors, right? And they actually have thermal jackets. And I don't know if you've ever seen one before, but a thermal jacket is like a cape for a dog. And you soak it in cold water, and you put it on the dog. And they got these like water beads inside that they absorb the moisture, and you put them on them, and it keeps them cool. I mean, they really work really well now.
Yeah, that's was that Furman made a good point. He said dogs can be just sitting in the sunlight and get hot, even though they're in the AC inside them. Yeah.
They love sunbathing, but sometimes they're so dumb they don't know how to get out of the sun.
Yeah, that's the worst part. You can't trust them. Yeah. That's why you see people that have got those like the doggy door with the run that goes outside. Ain't no way in hell. No way in hell I'd have one. Because I know a couple dogs that would go out and they would not come back in.
That's what Dina was talking about earlier.
And it isn't even just that. It goes back to the whole thing with anxiety or distraction, like a cat or a squirrel or something. If a dog's anxious and it's outside, it can't think clearly. It doesn't remember to go in through the door. It just gets out there and gets worked up, and it dies like that. Or if there's something out there like a cat or a squirrel or a pig or a goat or whatever it is, it's not going to go inside. It's going to stay out there and try and get it. And 10 minutes later, the dog's dead. I can't do that either, Roger. No way.
No, it's like, hey, even though it sucks, there are days that the temperature never reaches a reasonable level that I can even justify letting any of them out. You know, I'll let them out of their kennels and run around the building. You know,
that's like me right here, right now. The last 2 weeks have been no less than 105, and as high as
I'd rather have a
115.
safe dog than a happy dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
True. And that's what we looked into lighting too with our kennels, because to keep your females on a regular cycle, they need to have so many hours of sunlight a day.
Sunlight, right?
Yeah, so we've got our lights are on a timer that come on, 7 o'clock in the morning and go out. I think they need 12.
But now on the sunlight thing, Roger, doesn't have to be a certain spectrum of light though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that that's proven, but it is for obviously the benefits of sunlight. But for cycling, I think it only needs to be 12 hours of light. I don't know that it needs to be UVA, UVB kind of thing. I don't know.
Right. I was gonna say get some grow lamps, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I've thought about it for my kennels, like the tanning bed bulbs. I've thought about doing that.
Yep. Yeah, they're big fluorescents, and not fluorescents, but they're big LED lights.
LED lights. I'm going to everything to LED here too, man.
Yeah.
It's
it's
the only way to go.
And believe it or not, you think LED, okay, it's not going to affect the temperature in the kennel.
They're hot, man.
But it does. Yeah, I've got, 8? I've got 8 of those units. So when you're in my kennel and you kick the light on, it is daylight in that building. It is super bright.
Especially the high efficiency LEDs, because I use a flashlight. It's in my pocket at all times for my shop. It's a, what is it called? A stream light. And I call it a lightsaber because, like, when I turn it on, I can use it and penetrate up into anywhere in a car. So that's why I have it in my pocket all day. But if it gets bumped on and I don't turn it off, my ass starts burning. I'm like, what the? And I'm like, flashlight's on,
And I thought that was because you were thinking about me, but it's all right.
So I didn't want to really
days
put that out there, but
days that's really hot, shutting those lights off will actually affect the temperature in the building.
Oh, 100%. Man.
Well, even whatchamacallit, fluorescent light gets pretty hot, but the ballast gets screaming hot, so that's emitting heat too.
Yeah, so we try to give them outside time, but I'd rather have a dog that didn't get quality outside time and still be alive versus, the last thing he did was had quality outside time. Didn't make sense.
My wife and I have that argument from time to time, because it'll be like she'll get some really unsafe toy, and she's like, "But the dogs love it," and I'm be like, "Yeah, well, at least they had a good time dying, So I'd sooner have a bone that's less desirable to chew on, and my dog's going to be alive.
Yeah, man. I use them as far as toys, man. I mean, you won't find a tennis ball anywhere around here, man. I don't have to be trying to push a tennis ball out of a dog's throat, man.
No.
They just, I don't know, man.
We use some of those indestructible. They got those indestructible. They're like a vinyl bone. They can't even chew a piece of it off because it's so hard. But they tend not to want to play with those. They want to play with the things that they can destroy.
Right.
Yeah, they're like
you're talking about like a nylabone or something.
Yeah. They make really big ones. And
I'm gonna tell you what. The nylabones are cool, but they get bored very fast with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So what I did find that nylabone makes, they make one that's orange in color, and it looks like almost like a jack. The old game of jacks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that, but it's orange, right?
Oh yeah,
like
I've seen that one. Yeah.
And man, for some reason they like that damn thing. They'll chew on that thing for hours, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the shape because it's more engaging.
Yeah, I think it is too. And you make sure you get the largest one, because that's the other thing. When they chew them down, they may swallow it. You'd really be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, we did that. Ours is like a T-shaped, and it's like really got like spikes off of it or something like that. It's like textured.
Yeah, Denise gets those. They work really well.
Yep. We get those, and then every once in a while, we'll get they have like those indestructible. I can't remember that company that says everything of theirs is indestructible. obviously never tested it on a bully, but
No shit.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can't think of it either, but they destroy them in no time at all.
yeah, in no time.
The
only
one thing that's supposed to really work is an actual. There's companies that make them, but they're not. An actual fire hose is really hard to destroy. But there's companies now that make fire hose toys that aren't actually fire hose, and they're destroyed in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
There's no money in the toy that's not destructible, so that's why.
guys are chiming in. It's Kong. Now, one thing we did find is Kong makes a red ball, and it is almost completely solid. There's just one little hole through the middle of it.
Yep.
I use
And
those. It's the snowman looking one, or the ball.
Yeah, it is, but it's just a ball. It's just one.
So the snowman looking ones are like the 3-tier, kind of like a Michelin Man or whatever. Those work well too. The heavy duty Kong, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, but make sure it's bigger than his throat so he doesn't swallow and get stuck in his throat.
Yeah, you got to get the big ones. They're like that round.
Yeah, and we'll get those, and with a hole in it, depending on the dog, I'll pack it with a little bit of peanut butter because I got dogs that are bored and they'll just kind of sit there and lick at it and play with it. I got some dogs that really love toys, and then some that could care less about toys.
Yeah.
Ultros is one of those dogs. He has to have a ball. If you let him out of his kennel and you open up another kennel and that dog has a ball, he'll run into their kennel and steal their ball and take it back to his kennel. Like, no one else can have a ball. He's got to have it.
Sounds like Oscar.
Yep. I had a Jolly ball. And the dog tore it up. Tore up the, and that's a good point, Jack. The Jolly ball.
Take the handle off them Jolly balls.
We get the smaller ones, but they chew the damn handles off of them.
Yep.
Has to be the black one. Black one. And got bored of it. Yeah, after they destroy the part that they can destroy, then they don't want it no more. They're just like, I'm good. Hell with it. I chewed the handle off. That's good. Yeah. Back in the day when I was a kid, my house dog, they would chew up all kind of shit. They would chew up a red rubber ball, and then for 3 or 4 days after that, I'm seeing my dog pooping out
chunks of red.
Shit in red rubber. And as a kid, I was like, see, he's fine. But nowadays, I'm like, no, don't be swallowing that shit.
Yeah,
you'd be freaking me out. Got to ask. Oh, that's
a big problem at a veterinary office. There's a lot of dogs that come in with infections from, whatever. It could be your kid's sock or anything,
Adam, I believe that's a quarter bear. Is that a quarter bear behind you?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, quarter bear.
Man, I used to have a quarter bear as a kid.
Monza convertible. I'm sorry, Ron. That's terrible. I can't stand quarter bears.
Your Ultra son doesn't want anything to do with toys? That's amazing. He didn't get it from his dad, I guess. They're wild, though. That boy's wild. He loves toys. We give our dog lawnmower tires. That could work.
Not the ones that I've had here. I put new tires on my junkyard mower last season, and the ones that came off were pretty floppy. My dogs would have destroyed those.
Yeah. Well, I've had dogs that actually punctured the lawnmower tire while it was still on the lawnmower. So,
while the mower was mowing.
I seen a toy one time. And you probably one of the most oddest toys. You won't even be able to find it anywhere unless you Google it. But it was like a donut, but it was solid rubber, and they came in different sizes, right? And they weren't cheap though, man. But they were pretty cool looking. I was always wanted to try one, but I was like,
I have tires like that.
And this is solid rubber, Brian. It's like
I have some. They're like tires. That's what these are, but they're like a tire. It's a solid black tire. But it's a dog toy. It's not actually a tire, but it's meant to. It's shaped like a tire, and that works pretty well.
Yeah, let's try one of those.
They have on. I don't know if this is it, but this is one they have on Chewy called a dog nut.
That's the one I think it is. But see, the one I'm talking about is it's actually a local company. Oh, okay. I think they sell O-rings, and I think it's an O-ring from something that they made it out of.
Oh, wow.
But it's thick though. They come in it's a different sizes. You get some pretty big ones, I'm saying. Yeah. But man, it's got to be like a 2-inch across, man. That it's pretty thick.
I saw this one too, which was
what, cock ring?
dog nut. I don't know. Yeah, I've never tried any of those just because they destroy them so fast. You know. Yeah, these comes in different colors. They appear to be solid, like solid rubber.
Yeah, they're solid.
Some kind of scrawny dog in the picture. Definitely have to check those out.
I thought that was a 7 son for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Damn.
How's your neck feel, Roger?
Oh, that was bad, wasn't it? Jeez.
He got his foot right on that motherfucker.
He knew. He's like, he's a Gen X guy. He can handle it. If I was a millennial, I'd be upset right now.
He's Gen X and from West Virginia. He can tolerate that. No problem.
Oh yeah. What's up, everyone? First time here. Good to see everyone. What's up? Welcome. Hopefully you didn't just get here, but if you did, you can rewatch it later. Had a lot. You know, we started this whole thing just talking about overheating, and it just like it typically goes, it just goes off onto all kind of other subjects too. So it always ends up being a great episode. Electric scooter tires work.
Those are probably like high density, like not you don't have to inflate them, maybe. Kind of like a skid loader tire.
And what happened to the old leg bone? Like you just cut the leg bone of like a cow leg bone or something. You know what I mean? Like,
you can do that, but they don't really have that much interest in those either. It's like anything that would be really safe that you would feel okay with leaving with your dog. They only have about 2 minutes for that. Then they're looking for something they can kill themselves with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, but you're right though, because if you get a bone that's firm enough and yet soft enough, so they can actually take little pieces off it, then they'll say engaged, but you have to be careful of that even. You know, so it's a tough situation, man, to find the right toy.
Now the antlers, for sure, we've done that before, and those are pretty readily
I've always
available.
wanted to try that.
Man,
I think I actually bought one and never tried it.
Yeah.
Do they stay engaged, though, Raj? I mean, I've given mine some. You know,
they do. It's soft enough. Those antlers are soft enough that they chew them down over time. So you have to keep an eye on it, right? Because they'll get it down to a choke.
Then you got to pull it out so they don't choke it, right?
Yeah, so you have to pull it off of it. Pull them
I've even done the goat horns. I don't know if you've seen those. Yeah, I've done those, and they don't stay that engaged that long either. They do them, you know. They think they stay more engaged with a hoof than they do with the horn. It's the same material, but
I think the deer horn, like if you go to a pet store, they're going to sell you a piece of deer horn like this long, you know.
Right.
But if you get
it's like $30.
Yeah,
they're expensive, man.
An actual shed that has some branches to it, then they're a little bit more engaged because it has some dimension to it.
I actually have my nephew lives in Wyoming. I told him, hey man, pick me up some sheds, man.
Let's see.
The other thing, since we're all on this different subject, bounce back for keep it interesting, is I try to avoid giving my dogs any type of rope toy for the first year. And I
don't ever use it.
Yeah, well, I've seen people give them rope toys and play tug of war and stuff. I get it, right? But what I seen happen once many years ago, they had this dog that was used to having these little rope toys and a puppy, and a little girl happened to be there, and she leaned forward, and what falls down? Her ponytail.
This hoodie string. Oh, ponytail. I could see a hoodie string too.
No, ponytail. He grabbed that poor little girl's ponytail, and it scared the shit out of her, man. So after I seen that, I said, man, I'll never give him that because I don't want that incident to be happening with me or one of my dogs, man.
Honestly, none of my dogs
I don't do it.
Tuggy thing. Like they can carry.
I don't use a rope toy because I know the vet has to surgically extract a lot of them. That's why I just stay away from them. I had bought one of those that are like really big, like 3 feet long and like 2 inches round, and I let them use that sometimes in the yard a little bit. But I even watch that because I don't trust it.
Yeah.
If you had, what was that? If you had a stud credit from each of y'all, that would be something. Well, believe it or not, our yards are somewhat related at some point. You know, we're all use each other's dogs. I'm not really.
Oscar is directly off of Ron's yard, so that's a twofer right there.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, that's another subject we're going to get into one day. Is like stud owners. You see that people say, "Oh, he doesn't even use his own studs. Like, why should we?"
Oh
And
my God! I just talked to somebody about that yesterday. Oh,
I'm like, that's such a dumb statement.
Well, there's some big breeders that feel that if they don't use their own stuff, they can lose credibility, and they don't want to give anybody else any opportunity. And I think that's nuts because if you're trying to build a yard, let's be honest, man. If you're really trying to build yourself a killer yard, you got to be able to think out of the box, man. I'm not afraid to go to tell Brian, hey, Brian, I need one of your dogs, or Roger, or work something out down the road or something because you have to do this because one thing is it cleans up the blood. You need to get a little bit of different stuff every once in a while, and you may want to add something in. But there's some guys, some kennel people that are just adamant about not using anybody else's stud, and it's ironic to me, man. I mean, I don't give a damn what I use so long as I build a damn golden child. That's what I want. I want to build the best dog possible, man. I don't give a damn what I got to do, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, use whatever you got to use.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? I don't get that. That's more of an ego poisoning to your kennel.
Mm-hmm. Well, the issue there is, I mean, if you have a program, eventually most of your dogs in your program are going to be closely related. I've got 24 dogs right now, and other than the Frenchies, they're all pretty much related. They're all fairly closely related, even if they're just cousins. So I have to go outside to get fresh blood, and we used Smeagol, and that created a few dogs in our yard that are unrelated. But we continue to diversify, and that's why 4 years in, I don't have a ton of my own personal productions out there because I'm still building a diverse program for myself. And it's just is what it is. When you start with a plan, you got to look beyond the ego of all this bullshit and all what people say. It doesn't matter. You got to look beyond that.
You're losing sight. If you're so concerned about the other guy like that, so that man, you're really losing sight, man.
In another generation, I'll have females that I can now take back to my studs, and add their traits. But we got to thin things out a tad first.
Yeah, but that's so funny. Like I said, I forgot who I was talking to somebody about that yesterday. Man, the guys will not go outside their yard.
Yeah.
And man, if I see something I like, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna try to use it or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My ego isn't that big, man. I'll tell you what, man. I like a great dog. That's what matters to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's all ego or narcissism is most of the reason people won't go out of their yard.
Yeah.
They think,
they don't want someone else. They don't want someone else to get the credit for the production they create. They want to produce their own stuff.
Yep.
But I'm like, if you use someone else's stud and you create a nice female, and then you take it to your stud and it creates an amazing dog, you take the credit. It's your dog.
Yeah.
It's your stud that didn't, even though that outside breeding brought in the traits that probably fixed whatever was wrong with your dog. Reality of it is, that was that blend of those two bloods is what created it for you. Back in the day, quote, I only use edge dogs.
Yeah, that was kind of the way it was, really. Edge and Gotti were like they were like oil and water. Maybe that might be the right analogy, but like Edge people did not want to breed that way, and Gotti people didn't want to breed that way. And there were a few people that kind of blurred those lines, and they really had the best dogs.
There you go. I was going to say that.
Like the Michelins and who are the other ones?
It's funny you mentioned Michelin because Michelin had like extreme bullies eons ago, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
White Rhino, I think one of them I remember. He's just a monster, man.
Oh look, there's Hans now.
There he am. Concrete was a result of a Michelin cross. That was an amazing extreme dog,
Well, there was I can't
a
remember. There was
lot,
a
a lot
litter.
of the best dogs were crosses.
Yeah, there was a litter. I think they were called the Wonder Litters. And it was 5 dogs. I know one of them was Krypton. And there might have been another one there. I can't remember the other one. They were like just 5 males that were just phenomenal, man.
I remember
out of that
Krypton.
litter. Yeah,
Yeah.
Krypton was, man, he was something special, man. He kind of reminds me, believe it or not, of your dogs. You know, that body style.
Of Johnny Bananas, he does. Yeah,
Yeah, you know, so they had some pretty amazing dogs, man.
yeah. We used to, well, me and Anthony used to talk about them. We called them 50-50 dogs because, you know, it was like, well, I think a lot of people call them 50-50 dogs, but I still talk about it. Like I still try to create a 50-50 dog because to me, it's like a balance of 2 different kind of dogs, you know, where you get that, you kind of meet in the middle where you want to be. And, you know, you have an evolution and get a step ahead. You know, you kind of have to combine that to progress.
Yeah, Jack hit it right there. It was a dream team. That's what they were called. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like 4 of them, man. They were just like phenomenal, man. Just like,
well, Dream Team was a breeder also.
No, this was this particular litter that they talked about.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there was a breeder named the Dream Team. Well, it was a bunch of guys. Tay was one of them. What's the exotic guy? Shoot. Collins, what's his name? Kurt Collins. He was part of the Dream Team. But Dream Team owned Foxy Brown and Suge Knight and Dusty Rhodes and, you know, all them dogs. So that's a nice stuff.
That was just a mix of bloods that wouldn't mix themselves.
Well, those were mostly edge dogs that they had, but
okay.
Well, the Dream Team was Gotti. I think that was Gotti. That was a Gotti breeding.
So you're saying that litter was called the Dream Team?
I think it was called the Dream Team. The litter, they nicknamed it the Dream Team. It wasn't a kennel name. It was
yeah. Right.
I'd like to find out again because, man, they were just phenomenal, man. Every single dog was like mind blowing, man.
Yeah, funny how history repeats itself. I mean, to this day, we've got camps that have established bloodlines, basically, and they would not work together. There's no way you'd get them to work together.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But you, as an individual, can get dogs from both of their camps and blend them together.
Yep. I think we know who you're talking about.
Jack Smith. Man, I might be 22, but you guys bringing me way back. I've been in this breed. You must have started paying attention when you was like 5 years old.
Yeah, but those guys were like back in the 90s, man.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yeah, way back, man.
The late 90s,
yeah.
Rodney's age.
There was some pretty. There was another dog out there. His name was One Drop. Hawaiian guy owned him. And man, that guy was a monster, dude.
Yep.
A freaking freak, man. I mean, just like unbelievable and really clean.
Jack wasn't.
And it's like you said, Roger, it's coming full circle. Because a lot of people didn't think these dogs were like that. You know, that right now they're all making a fuss because they're seeing a lot of extreme dogs in the ring. But these dogs were like way back, like I said, Gotti was doing that kind of stuff in the late 90s, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And making amazing dogs, man. Even some of the UKC dogs, I always use them for an example. You can look them up. There was a dog named Bacala, but he was an Amstaff / Pit Bull, and he was 92 pounds. You know, and for a show dog back then, that's a monster, man. They were supposed to be.
Brad, I know where a Corvair is for sale. Right here in West Virginia.
Yeah, right behind me.
Yeah, rust free. Oh, is that one for sale?
Yeah, sure. He was talking about it. So I did a bunch of stuff to it, and it needs lifters now. So he was like, I don't know. I want to maybe just get rid of it. So if anybody's really interested in that, I'm sure I could
let me get that car on the lift. Can I swap a LS into that?
Hey, Brad, I'll trade you the Corvair for your motorhome.
There you go. Brad, Corvair for the motorhome. You just gotta drive it to him though.
I'll drive him the Corvair for the motorhome. Huh? I'll be there tomorrow.
You talk about an LS. I just see something the other day, and I wish I would remember, but somebody came out with a 4-cylinder just recently that's supposed to be a monster, man.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was.
Well, back in the day, we were like, I was a Subaru guy, and I've had STIs, had Evos, so you build these cars, they make incredible horsepower from a 4-cylinder. They just don't have the longevity. Right?
Yeah.
I can get 800 horsepower out of a 4-banger, but it ain't gonna last. It ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean?
Well, this is like something really new. It's supposed to be like really super.
Well, the one I think
four-banger.
he's talking about is they came up with a 4-cylinder based on half an LS.
Yeah, half an.
Yes,
that's probably what
exactly.
he's
That's what it
talking
is.
about.
Yeah, that's. I think. I was going to say LS, but I wasn't sure.
I tell you, the one I'm probably going to get next.
It uses an LS head.
Got rid of all of the cars, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick up another one. I think I'm gonna get a TTRS. I've been really impressed with that straight 5-cylinder.
Yeah, they're pretty wild.
Yeah, they're just basic bolt-ons making 500 horsepower to all 4 wheels. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, you can go more with basic bolt-ons, but I wouldn't really go much more. So we had an Audi, the RS5, I think it was in here, that has that same motor in it, and he just kept putting more and more money in it and getting more and more overzealous with it, and it turned into a bit of a mess, connecting rods everywhere. So he was up like around 700, and it came apart. So stay probably 600, and you're safe.
Start pushing them, you're gonna have to build the block. Yeah, it was a bad thing when I built the STI. I got it done, and the car made like 880. But I knew it was a ticking time bomb. Like it only lasts so long. It was just a matter of time. We sleeved the block that way. I wouldn't have to worry. I can just change the sleeve. But I knew it was
880. Was it meth too, or
no? It was just 64, 66, and ethanol.
Oh, just on E. Okay.
All my dogs have around 500 horsepower. 500 horse.
Oh no, I said 880. I mean 770. The Subaru made 770. The Camaro made 800.
That I can see.
Yeah, 770. It was just right under 8, but that was on a Mustang dyno. 770 at the wheels.
Yeah, well, the Mustang's an exaggerated number too. So.
No, it isn't.
Yeah,
it is. No, not.
I mean, no, you're right. Mustang is not dyno, just an exaggerated number. I had that backwards.
Now you're hurting my feelings. Don't be talking about my Mustang.
No. You're right. Mustang number is right on.
Yeah,
you're a Mustang man.
That was a genotype phenotype moment there. I had to.
There you go.
I get that backwards all the time too.
Yeah. No, you had had to end up getting go to the axle shop and get 800 horsepower axles for the Subaru because it snapped the rear ones immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, it went completely off subject.
No
there.
kidding. I'll say somebody got some newborn cowboy pups.
Yeah, drive shaft shop.
Yeah.
I used to have a 69
newborn cowboy.
Do what? Bud?
Who has newborn cowboy pups?
David Robertson Jr.
Oh yeah, he does. Yep.
Well, I don't know if we've seen any pictures of them yet, but we're going to assume we're going to be getting them soon.
Well, they had to just be born.
Yeah. What dog is 5-cylinder? Sometimes
it's a European breed.
But does that 800 horsepower have a big butthole? No, it actually shrinks buttholes. Is what it does.
Yes, it does. It puckers the shit out of them.
Well, gentlemen, it is 9:30. I think we better let you guys get back to your life. But I appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, I've turned amazing episode having you guys jump in with us. For a while.
Oh, thank you for milling buzz in. I wanted to show you my little hole in the ground.
Yeah, that was awesome. I think that's awesome. Hopefully,
did you actually show that on camera?
He did.
Sure did.
Yeah, he showed the little underground.
Well, I'll go back and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
He's told me about it on several occasions, but I've never actually. It only exists in my mind. And
yeah, I kid you not, man. Those things are so efficient. I mean, they look crude and nasty, but the thing is, though, is, I mean, I kid you not, 105-degree heat. These guys they're not even panting.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not little dogs. You know, they're the little bullies. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, short muzzled up, but
Well, it's
man,
like a
it works
fox
so
den.
well. Yes, exactly. It's
Pretty
like
much, yeah.
fox den, wolf
Same
den. Yeah,
concept.
yeah, and man, it works so good. You know, I've been, like I said, I've been doing it for years, and I have not had any issues with it. And when I get concerned, I bring them in. And
Yeah.
even then, I don't like bringing them in because I don't want them to get acclimated to the AC. You
Right.
know, because they're so used to being out there. You know what I'm saying? So, but man, I'm telling you right now, man, it works wonders. So, you know, if anybody wants to see it later on again, I'll be glad to show them again. You know, what it looks like. In fact, I've been wanting to shoot a video. Uh,
Yeah, we got
uh,
that.
I wanted to shoot a video so that people can see it and probably take advantage of it and help their kennel out. I'm not. I
Put
enjoy
it in your book.
sharing that because I want people not to.
Yes, put it in your book.
In my book, huh?
Get you a book going.
Oh my God!
No, I think, yeah, and that's a great part about these is that they're recorded, they're forever. You know what I mean? People would
Yeah.
come back and watch that video over and over. But that's a great part about this is bringing information to the community. I mean, these are conversations that we would typically have at dinner, sitting at a table. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it would stay between us. And this particular format allows us to get this information out to everybody, which is an awesome thing.
I wish we were at Terry Black's having dinner right now. Maybe not right now because it would be hot as shit. But you know, if we were inside, maybe. But that food was on point.
Yeah, it's always better now if we can just figure out a way to get the food. Oh, we know we do is we'll do podcast live from the restaurant. There we go.
Oh, that's a good idea. You can fly us all there, Roger, and then it's like a tax shelter for you. There you go.
It's a write-off. As soon as we'll get Rogue to sponsor us with their supplements or whatever.
You know, it's funny. We had a little like a round table here at my place last year or 2 years ago. We had a bunch of people come out and, you know, you seen the backyard is big. We sat around the campfire out there and just sat around and drank some beer and talked dogs. It was a lot of fun, man, to be honest with you. Yeah. And
is that when photographers were there?
Yeah, we had like 3 or 4 photographers here. They had a blast with the dogs. It was a lot of fun, man. We've even had an FW. He came and did one of his lives here in the back over the fire pit. You know, but it's a lot of fun, man. You know what I mean? So, but with that being said, because we got to get out of here. I'm coming around. You better come, Hans.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I'll let you get to it. I appreciate it again. Much appreciated for you guys dropping in and have a conversation with us tonight. And I'm sure we'll reach out to you again. I'm sure.
Thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate you guys, man.
All right, guys.
Peace. And we'll see you shortly.